Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter, and I am joined, as always, by Matt.
Hey, what's up, people?
Also here today, and he's excited because he gets to return to his favourite book of all time. Connor's here.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it so much.
You did it to yourself.
He did.
I mean, that's not entirely accurate.
Do you know what's funny, actually? So, I was talking about comic books. We're going to talk about DC Comics from this week. Coming up on this week's show, we have Batman number 24, Superman 24, Nightwing 22, Green Arrow 24, Green Lanterns 24. We actually all read Justice League 22. More on that when we get to it, why we read that, when we've not been usually reading it. Wonder Woman Steve Trevor Special Issue 1, so just a one-shot, came out this week. Deathstroke number 20, The Fall and Rise of Captain Atom number 6, which is the finale of that miniseries. And then at the end, the return of one of our favourite segments. Connor's Corner has returned, thanks to Patreon. Someone has paid, David Short in specific, to make Connor read Red Hood. Specifically issue 7, which is the one that he left off on. I've actually written down number 1, because I was like, nah, he's going to reread everything. No, issue 7. What's funny, he did comment on last week's show, and he kind of gave you a way out, Connor.
Oh, God damn it, why the hell did you not tell me this?
Because it wouldn't be as fun if he did.
No, Connor, the way out was only applicable after this issue. It wouldn't have affected you reading this issue. And I didn't like this comment at first because it was like, oh no, you're giving him a way out. Don't do this. No. Be strong. Be strict. It basically says, you know, he really believes that Red Hood gets better after the first arc. And if you don't believe so, he will change what he's making you read. But then the second half of the comment said, but there's much worse than Red Hood you could be reading, so pick wisely.
Look, I want to just... Look, I put it off till last because, obviously, and I really didn't want to do this, and I was like, damn you, David, why are you doing this to me?
And he's drinking booze, notice, as well.
I got a beer for the first time. It's rare I drink beers, and I was like, God damn it, I'm going to have to get one.
Driving him to drink.
Oh, it's so good. But anyway, that's what's coming up on this week's show. So, I don't think there was any news this week, was there? I didn't write anything down. Nothing comics related down. Obviously, Adam West passed away. We just found that out earlier today. But nothing specific comics.
Sad news, chum.
It's sad. I'm not a fan of that era of Batman, but yeah, sad all the same.
No, but I mean, Adam West just as a character from Family Guy.
Yeah.
Near Adam West.
Yeah.
And he fully embraced that, and I guess a lot of those jokes were his idea, like him marrying his hand and whatnot. Like, it's just, the dude had a sense of humor that went beyond the kitschy 60s Batman stuff.
Yeah,
Have either of you watched the Return of the Cape Crusader yet from last year?
Nah.
Because obviously there was supposed to be a sequel one to that, and I don't know if he recorded any of that, or all of it, or none of it.
Yeah, Matt was saying earlier, he had like scheduled appearances over the next couple of months at cons and things. Yeah.
Well, and you also got to take the dude was 88 years old, and he was still doing con appearances with Burt Ward.
Well, I mean, that's the thing here. Obviously, it's sad, but 88's not a bad run.
No, I mean, if Stan Lee's doing it when he's dust, I mean, like
Stan Lee is like, I mean, what age is he now?
He's at the same. What's that?
What age is Stan Lee? He's like 95 or something like that now, is he not?
Yeah, he's 94, 95. He's been at every con that we've had in my hometown since the beginning, and so yeah, I expect one day for someone to pull his suspenders, and that's it. You know, but I never expected that with Batman, with Adam West.
Yeah, so. It kind of came out of nowhere because there wasn't anything leading up to it. Like I said, he's been at loads of cons. He was scheduled. Yeah. There was no news of ill health. It was just, that this kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. So obviously, Shea, he's always, like, as you guys said, he always seemed to have a sense of humor. He always seemed very pleasant whenever he was on camera in like an interview capacity or anything like that. He never seemed like he was a grumpy old man who regretted that he was only known for really one thing. Because a lot of actors get quite grumpy about that kind of thing.
Yeah. It really was Family Guy that kind of gave him that second lease of a career at the end there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So shame. So rest in peace, Adam West. But How was our week though?
I mean, I had to read Red Hood, so awful.
It was awful.
That's been hanging over me all week.
It's funny because obviously we were really busy with TV, and it's still a little bit busy, and it's calming down the next couple of weeks. But we had a little bit more time this week, and I'm really glad that we are doing more movies, like more old movies. I've actually been enjoying getting back to doing some.
There hasn't been that many old movies.
Okay, they're not that old now because we're building to new movies coming out, so it's just like it's the prequels to the sequels that are only a few years old.
It's basically just been Spider-Man and Planet of the Apes for the last few weeks.
Sure, but it's been a while since I've watched all those, especially the Apes movies, which I was enjoying revisiting. So, I've been enjoying that. E3's this weekend. I'm looking forward to E3.
Yeah, it starts tonight.
Yeah, I've not been in a big gaming mood for the last 5 or 6 months. I've been kind of out of the loop on that. I'm hoping E3 rekindles my excitement.
I'm looking forward to seeing for them to go, right, here's what you got coming on the Switch. Legitimately excited for that.
Good luck with that.
I'm more excited for that than the Sony conference at the minute, which is kind of crazy.
I'm sorry, did they not just have a Pokemon thing where they came out and said, you're not getting Pokemon on Switch, you're getting Pokken Tournament on Switch, but you're not getting Pokemon on Switch?
Okay, I'm excited for that. That looks like a great fighting game. It's fighting Pokemon. What's not to love?
Vidya games.
Aye. Yeah. Sorry, Matt. It's E3 weekend. You have to put up with that a little bit when it comes to this time of year.
I guess I'll probably play Injustice 2 at some point just to kind of keep it on theme.
I actually watched someone play through all that. I was curious because I don't like fighting games, so I just wanted to see what the story was.
Yeah, I don't learn that much. I played the first one when it got really cheap because I wanted to play the story, and it was all right.
Obviously, Injustice is kind of this weird thing. The first one was about obviously you had multiple Earths, and one Earth Joker made Superman accidentally kill Lois, and it made him turn all evil and that. But the first game had good Superman as well from the regular Earth, in the regular Justice League were all involved. The second game is all set in this alternate Earth where Superman went evil and he's in Kryptonite prison kind of thing. But there's a lot of weird things that have happened as an offshoot. Harley's place in that world is kind of interesting. She's working for Batman.
Yeah.
And it's actually there's some quite heartwarming moments where she kind of sticks up for Batman's ideals, and it kind of took me aback. Oh, that's Harley.
It's interesting. Obviously, I know Matt's there grinding his teeth. It's like, oh, evil Superman, and I get that, but I overlook it because it was the premise for a game, not this is the first big movie with Superman in it.
It's an excuse in the game to have each of the heroes fighting each other. That's all it is. And they did it for what it is. They turned it into a pretty decent little story. But the idea came from no, we need to have them fighting each other because it's a fighting game.
I know. I had this argument with a friend when the second game came out, and well, you should go back and read the comics so they're good. And I'm like, I'm not interested in comics with an evil Superman.
Yeah, no,
I'm just not.
That is fair. I'm not particularly either. That said, the second game has Supergirl who arrives, and she eventually kind of she's with Superman at first because it's my cousin and I'm on Earth now. But when she sees what he's turned the symbol of the House of El into, she kind of becomes more of a hero. In that game, so. There's an interesting plot. As a Elseworld, as a something that's completely separate. It's interesting enough.
Mark Waid had a whole, I forget, I think maybe it was through Boom, had a whole series about that called Irredeemable, about a Superman figure. And then the villain had his own called Incorruptible, which was about how they were going to rise up.
Was that through Boom, or was that through his own, that website one?
I can't remember. I have the first trade of Irredeemable.
Right.
So I want to say maybe it was through his site at first, and then when they put out a trade, it was through Boom. But my shop guy gave it to me a couple free comic book days ago. As like, here, you'll like this. But yeah, so there are versions that can be. I like Big Blue to be that beacon of hope and trust and things. I don't even like the idea of an evil Batman. So.
Yeah. No, it doesn't piss me off though when it's clearly an Elseworld thing. It's one thing to do it in the same continuity.
Yeah, it's only when they pretend no, this is what Superman's meant to be like that it annoys you.
Exactly, and once it starts bleeding into the comics, and because you have to give Superman an edge, that's where I start throwing things.
Yeah, or the first shared movie universe. That's when we have problems.
He's not meant to be morally ambiguous. He's meant to be.
Because that's one of the things is like, sure, okay, if you want to do your different, weird, edgy take on a character, I can almost let that go and just be like, whatever. But I don't want that weird, edgy take of the character to be the one that's in the shared universe with the other characters that are supposed to be, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, that's something else that happened this week. Wonder Woman. We mentioned last week that we'd seen it, but we weren't giving anything away. But the review's up now.
Oh, it is, yeah. Even the audio folk, I put it up on the audio feed for the podcast, so you can check that out. Matt's going to deal with a dog.
But we liked it. If you haven't checked it out for whatever reason,
we liked it a lot.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
It was a pleasant surprise.
We liked a DC movie. It's been a while since I've said that. It's nice.
Yeah. I mean, the last time you said that was probably what? Dark Knight Rises.
Sounds about right. I mean, I didn't hate Man of Steel when it came out.
No, I mean, I stand by Man of Steel as a decent movie. It's just a bad Superman movie.
That's fair.
But yeah.
Oh, those last two though. Oh, rough stuff. I'd move on to the books now, but I'm going to wait till Matt gets back.
Yeah, we're just killing time now.
We are literally just killing time now. So, what are you looking forward to this summer?
I mean, are you asking in general movies?
Let's go with movies. That's movies.
Movies. Okay, I'm gonna kind of stay on topic to what we were talking about earlier, but War of the Planet of the Apes. I'm very excited for that. That and Baby Driver.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to Baby Driver. I got the Baby Driver trailer when I went to see the Mummy yesterday. And Mummy's atrocious, by the way. Don't waste your time.
I like how when it was Wonder Woman, we were playing it coy. You go, go check out the review.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, sure. Me and Matt will have the review of Mummy up sometime on Sunday evening.
But no even attempt to hide your thoughts.
But no, there's no point. At least because Wonder Woman, like the audience for this show, have a bit of an interest in what we probably think of that movie, whereas they may not give a shit of what we think of the Mummy.
Fair.
But it sucked.
That's a shame.
It sucked.
I mean, not that the trailers were particularly promising, but I was hoping maybe just misleading trailers.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping that as well. Obviously, the reviews came out and it was pretty dire looking. I went in kind of apathetic, and I just kind of. And it wasn't terrible at first. Like it wasn't like a complete turd all the way. I want to make that clear. It was just thoroughly mediocre and lacked emotion.
Sometimes that's worse, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I probably won't bother seeing that then. But yeah, Apes and Baby Driver are the ones that I'm really excited for.
You got Dunkirk as well, a bit of Nolan that never goes amiss.
Yeah.
Ah, Matt's back, so we can stop killing time and go into the books. Was the dog settled, Matt? What the hell?
For the audio folks, we just lost Matt there.
All right, we're back. Sorry about
Good.
that. Yeah, we had someone knocking at the door. My wife didn't want to answer the door. Instead of telling him to go away, she let the dogs bark. So I had to go see what the hell's going on, and then I was told to be quiet. We
legitimately just killed about 5 minutes waiting for you coming back.
Gotcha.
For that story.
All right, let's talk about books then. Let's talk about some comics. The Batman number 24 is going to kick off the show. Tom King writing, David Finch and Clay Mann on art, and this is a sort of standalone kind of epilogue issue, kind of like how Rooftops was a kind of an epilogue two-parter to the last big arc. This is an epilogue to the I Am Bane and kind of the Button as well. I think it neatly also kind of ties into that in an emotional way. And so. Unfortunately, I had the ending of this spoiled for me because news websites and comic websites basically didn't even do a good job of hiding it on Monday when they broke the news. And then by a few hours later, they just started blatantly putting it in the headlines what it was. So, unfortunately, the ending of this, I knew going in, which is a shame.
I was too busy to check news websites at the start of the week, so I didn't see a thing, and it was great.
Me too.
I didn't even check them, it was just Twitter. It was literally just...
Oh, I was too busy to look at Twitter. God.
Yeah.
So time do you think we have in our hands?
Well, unless someone tags me on Twitter, I tend to stay off of it. Just because of stuff like this, because people can't help themselves anymore. And I don't know why you need to put that in the headline. You could have just said, the ending
Look, clearly they tried that, and then it didn't get them any clicks, so they went, screw it, let's just go all out.
Well, some of them tried that, and then CBR, yeah, I'm calling them out, just tweeted out. Just tweeted out the ending. And obviously, we're talking about the book now, so spoilers for the books as we talk about them, obviously. But yeah, so Batman proposed to Wonder. No, I was going to say Wonder Woman. Batman proposed to Catwoman.
That's a Vince Russo swerve right there, Pete.
Wait, and then it makes no goddamn sense. Yeah,
exactly.
Right,
exactly.
Yeah. So the gist of this issue is basically it's Gotham Girl and Batman having a chat during the day, up in the skies. And it's basically her sort of reflecting on what she just went through, and she doesn't know what she wants to do with herself now. And it gets kind of self-reflective for Batman, kind of the experiences went through in the button by meeting his father. Because there's one moment where Gotham Girl even says, "Would your parents want this for you, this life, and what you do?" And it's that's very neatly. And it's like this conversation combined with that experience of seeing his father, Flashpoint Batman, clearly is what kind of has put all this in his head, all this motivation here. And we see as he's talking to her that what happens that night is, Catwoman's getting ready, and it cuts between them as the conversation in the day takes place. And it all kind of builds up to the gist of the conversation is, yeah, but is this what you want? Is there nothing you just want to be happy? Not about what you need, not about what you think Batman is or should be, just something that you want for yourself. And it all basically builds up to him getting down on the knee and proposing to Catwoman at the end. And of course, we're not going to find out the answer for like 3 months because we've got a big flashback story that's taken over like 7 or 8 issues.
4 months! War Jokes and Riddles is an 8-part epic, as said by the ads in this one.
That said, I did see some of Janin's Catwoman
art
from this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's the original sort of style Catwoman suit with the ears and the sort of the not the goggles, the purple suit, yeah. And it looks great.
Yeah.
Admittedly, the artwork didn't have colouring yet, but you could tell it was going to be purple because that's what it says.
Yeah. So we all know my relationship with Batman, especially this main series.
Love-hate.
What?
Love-hate. It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah. So, and I've been really critical of the Cat and Bat issues because there's some stuff that just drive me up the wall that I think King had done because it's clever, not necessarily in the voices of the character. And the whole introduction to Catwoman here, going back with, I Am Suicide. But that said, everything paid off right here. This is issue 24. It's been a full year, right? It's been really like 2 years worth of story.
Yeah.
And there's been a nice build, and everything that's happened pays off in this issue. They talk about a lot of the things he went through. I mean, like Monster Men and stuff gets skimmed over, but the I Am, series,
trilogy. Yeah, the I Am trilogy of stories, yeah.
It all builds in with those little interstitials of like rooftops, and we've seen him bring back Kite Man and use him as a kind of a punchline. This is the type of storytelling I like in comics. And I might not agree with a lot of what he has done with some of the characters. Like I Am Suicide still brings me to a boil when I think about it. But if it was all to get to this point in this issue, which I think is my favorite issue of Batman thus far.
Yeah, I think me and Connor both like Rooftops a lot, so we've been a lot more into this Batman and Catwoman stuff. Now, admittedly, I do think the Bat and Cat dialogue, when they just say Bat and Cat's a little bit weird at times, but
I think it is weird, but it kind of I did at first. It's starting to grow on me because I'm kind of reading it as they're being very playful about it, like they're kind of joking at each other's expense when they say it.
But here, now that we've seen the Batman's learned from his fight with Bane, and we've seen him learn from seeing Thomas, he's learned to be a little bit lighter, almost. Yeah. And now it fits. I felt like when he was in that dark mode after Gotham, the character, Gotham Girl's brother, after what had happened with him and some of the other things at this point, and like thinking that Catwoman had killed all those people, and really it wasn't her. She was taking the rap for Holly, right? That was the point of that story. It didn't seem to ring true, but here now, as this guy, he's been changed through the I Am. From I Am Gotham to I Am Suicide to I Am Bane to now this. And it makes sense. And the button even. And I like that character development because you don't get that too much with Batman anymore. With Batman, he's very much, this is just who he is. And, he's on this mission and he's the Cape Crusader. but King actually is taking that time to develop, and I appreciate that.
Because he talks about his mission here. He talks about how he secretly is kind of doing it to make him happy. I mean, that's not all about, because he even says, like, I'm not Batman because I want to be Batman. I'm Batman because I'm Batman.
Yep.
Like, it's who he is.
Those are the exact words.
Yeah.
I'm not Batman because I like being Batman. I'm Batman because I'm Batman. And like, you could take that as a joke, but in the context of talking with Gotham Girl,
yeah,
and like they're on this radio tower in the sunlight, which I thought, like, with the art here,
it's gorgeous.
You have the you have the two different, because you have Finch doing the Catwoman stuff, and then you have, is it Mann? Doing the daytime stuff, and it creates this complement that is super cool.
I really like that bit, where he says, "Oh, I am just Batman," and it pays off really nicely after the Wonder Woman annual.
Yeah,
because obviously that was that whole thing there.
Your name.
Yeah, that's just who he is, and it kind of got its feedback into this still.
Yeah, no, so, that's a good point.
I just want to take this to take back things I've said about Tom King, maybe in the past, how he didn't quite understand Batman.
He was playing the long game, Matt. Playing the long game.
And of course I get that, but here, with the because I'm Batman, and it's not because Batman, but it's like Connor just said, he was holding the rope of truth, or the lasso of truth, in that annual, and Superman gives both of his birth names of Clark Kent and Kal-El, and I'm Batman, and because that's who he is in his truth. So, and King gets that, and I think the Wonder Woman. I just said what Pete did. The Catwoman. All this Wonder Woman talk.
At least this time we were talking about Wonder Woman.
Yeah, true. I think the relationship will grow, because I just feel like this might be heartbreaking, because the whole crux of that relationship is I run and you chase, and I feel like the worst thing King can do is to break Batman's heart and make her say no, and he still chases.
Well, this is one of my little concerns going forward. We know, I mean, I don't know if it still stands. We know during the New 52 that they had that whole no marriage thing.
Yeah.
And obviously it doesn't stand as much because we've got Clark and Lois back. But I just wonder if they're going to actually let him go forward with this, or if it is just for the sake of tragedy.
It depends. Like, that's assuming he even plans to have them married anyway. Like, we don't know where the intention of this story leading us right now.
But I think for me, I want to see it go down that route rather than just be tragedy.
I mean, I'd be interested too. But if King's story right now is, if his plan is for her to say no, or if his plan is for her to say yes, but then back out at the altar, or if his plan is to, like, whatever his plan is, I'll trust that that's what his story is, unless I hear that, that the company stepped in and said, no marriages, stop it.
Oh yeah. It might be a case of he decides that, but either way, I still, a little bit of me will be disappointed, because I feel like just for tragedy's sake will be a little underwhelming.
I think DC's learned from putting those restrictors on creatives overall. It doesn't mean for the best storytelling, because now we have full-on characters, and they're not just the two-dimensional characters that we got in the New 52. Like, think about all the stuff we've read in Nightwing with him and Jaun. Like, that's a full-on, well-developed relationship that's murky and complicated.
Yeah.
And he really, as much as I love the Grayson series, he really never had that in Grayson, and he never really had it in Nightwing. He was just Dick Grayson, Nightwing throughout.
Well, yeah, that's, especially in Grayson, it was very superficial of, he's going to... It kind of worked because he was an act of playing the spy. So
but he was still kind of... But he was still kind of two-dimensional, whereas he's, cracking jokes and being funny. It's not like... I don't want to say deep meaning, because there's some good stuff in there, but like here, this feels like it is for keeps with Batman and Catwoman. And there will be ramifications going forward with the future of the character, I feel, based on this point.
Regardless if it is marriage or if it is heartbreak, there'll be fallout from it.
Yeah,
exactly. And outside of the Owls and some of this other stuff in Snyder's Run, which kind of gets washed over, as much as I like the majority of that, there's not really, it doesn't have that, I don't want to say flashpoint because it's a bit gimmicky, but it doesn't have these crux moments that are fully changing of the character. They go, oh yeah, this was Batman up until he proposed to Catwoman. And then there's, because you have that with Superman at different points, you have the Electric Blue, which we still talk about, and him marrying Lois and the death of Superman.
Yeah, and then we have
there's
Jaun.
all these moments.
Like, there's a pre-Jaun Superman, there's a post-Jaun Superman.
Exactly, and so we get that there, and it would be nice for them to go back there. I always felt that was Jeff Johns' strength as a writer. It's like when you're reading Wally West Flash, he has those character moments in there, and it's pre-Zoom, post-Zoom, and they kind of got away from that in the New 52.
No, absolutely. No, I mean, I love the issue. I thought the daytime stuff in particular looked fantastic. Everything with them standing on, like Batman's on this radio tower, Gotham Girl's flying around. I love the conversation at the start where she's like, you could fly. Like, I mean, I know you're Batman, but like, we live in a world with magic and science fiction. Like, you could find a way to give yourself powers. Yeah. And he's like, well, no, I don't need powers. Like,
it's not who he is.
Yeah, it's just like I like this examination of the character, especially since it comes from her trying to figure out who she is and what she wants, and she's almost just wanting him to tell her what she wants, and she ultimately comes to the decision that she is like. She ultimately, when he poses the question, do you want to be a hero? And they have the debate, like, is putting on a costume a hero? It's like, no, that doesn't make you the hero, but most people who put the costume on want to be a hero. That's what they're trying to do.
Right. And it's not the powers either, because the more she uses her powers, the more it's going to kill her.
Well, yeah, right? But I think just the idea that she says, what you did for me, I can't not do that for other people now. Like, the idea that superheroes are inspiring and that she's inspired to... Like, she always looked up to her brother before, and her brother wanted these things, so she kind of tried to just mimic him.
Exactly.
But now she has...
And when you look at...
Yeah. I was going to say, now she has her own inspiration, she has her own reason to feel compelled. I mean, she still wants other things, she still talks about having normal parts of her life, and that's why she sort of, like, opens that up in Batman, where Batman ultimately makes his decision that he does at the end of the issue, but... I think the conversation works very well for both characters, and it's really nice that a new character like Gotham Girl can do this with Batman. And both of them, he's a much further down the road character obviously than she is, but they both develop from this conversation. So
it's about that inspiration there, and she's happy now. Like, she's not that mess, and it wasn't just because of the Psycho Pirate, but it's because of Batman's care and like telling her we're gonna get through this, and then they get through it. Like, he followed through on what he said, and I think that also is what makes Batman.
Yeah, it even ties into the end of the I Am Bane with those sort of the mother sequences where he says, like, I don't do this because of some weird quest of vengeance. I do this because I have to help people.
Right.
I mean, that says part of me is wondering, like, does he have like a death wish? Because obviously we kind of question that with the way he challenged Bane and all that, but there's stuff in this that makes me question it as well, where he accepts that he can't stop being Batman because it's who he is. But at the same time, we've seen he wants to have a legacy. He doesn't want to have to do this, but he has to. So maybe it's... And to go back to Snyder's stuff, we talked about how a lot of that was brushed over. That final arc was kind of... Even when he was alive, even when he'd forgotten all of his memories, he was still somewhere in there he had to be Batman. But
he was still helping people...
Right.
In that, but he wasn't like, he was Batman in a different way.
Yeah, but ultimately it's the idea that maybe death is probably the only way he can stop.
Right.
So maybe in some way that's what he wants.
Don't forget too that this started with him saying this would be a good death on the plane, right? And he's staring it down, and he's accepting that this will be his fate. And then at the end of the Gotham story, I Am Gotham, there's that like jump to the future about how Gotham Girl was the one that brought the end of Batman. And we all thought that was kind of a sinister, but if this is what it means, like, he's finally learning he can settle down, and there are others he can count on, like Gotham Girl and Nightwing and Lark and Damian. Like, he doesn't have to be.
Just throw Lark in there with the rest of them.
Well, I did that because the reason I did that is because we always forget about Duke. Yeah, because no one kind of uses him a lot.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw a preview page of the Dark Knight. I think it was Forge.
Yeah.
It was in the preview pages that are all online, and it has Duke as Lark in it, and it cracked me up.
Yeah. Well, because Snyder's really the only one that's doing anything with him.
Yeah.
That's his character. But I only bring that up because he was in that I Am Gotham arc, and he's the one that.
Yeah, he had this relationship with Gotham Girl.
Yeah, which is not done. Like, it's implying that they're going to be a thing in the future going forward.
So I feel that was kind of King tipping his hand that this could happen. And he could have changed his mind halfway through by now, and that's all just a red herring. But I like where this is going. Like, for the first time, I'm enjoying both Bat books.
I think it's indicative of maybe how long a game he's playing. Like, 'cause as much as we said, oh, he's got these 3 I am arcs planned out, and that's, that's a lot of issues. And
yeah, that was just the first year, though.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
But that issue at the end of the first arc with Gotham Girl from the future talking about stuff, it feels like he is playing a really long game. He's got a full run planned out. He's got a full mapped out. I mean,
even the title of this issue, every epilogue is a prelude. Like this issue, it's a wrap up of this first year, but here's what we've still got to come.
Exactly, and oh man, good stuff.
So
my one legitimate complaint with this issue is that the bat ears.
Too small. Yeah.
It's most of the time I accept it. It's whatever, but it's the panel where it's the Dark Knight Returns swinging through with the lightning with the two of them there, but his ears are basically non-existent on that one, and it really bothered me on that panel.
You guys think that's a little bit of Warner's kind of pushing the Batfleck look? That they kind of knew that they messed up by making the ears not as big, so he kind of worked out with the art a little bit. Let the artists...
Maybe. I don't feel like they actually pushed that much synergy. I mean, other than like the odd bit here and there, which is, again, this is a weird week to say that, actually, because there is some synergy this week. But typically they don't push it that hard. So, and I feel like the rest of the costume's so different. I mean, like, look at, there's purple and yellow all over it still. Whereas, so I feel like they'd complain about those before they talked about the ears.
Just to reiterate, the daytime stuff is beautiful. I love how it plays with the highlights on the edges of things and all that kind of thing. It really feels like they're standing in front of the sun, which is, again, I think it's an interesting setting for this, because obviously Batman and Catwoman, they typically meet at night because they're creatures of the night, but this conversation that's changing his perspective, that's making him think a bit differently, is happening during the day. It's Batman in broad daylight in the harsh sunlight.
It's interesting as well, like Gotham Girl, like it's similar that she's a Superman style in terms, flight strength. And I think it's notable that she's the future, perhaps, of what he wants for the city, and that's in the daytime.
Well, it's literally Batman in a new light. Like
Very good. But no, very, very good. And also, just to wrap it up, I like the stuff at the end, but they bring back the alternate origins of how they met. And Bruce is like, that ring you stole, that jewel, I bought it because I knew I'd need it one day, and that's what he proposes with. So he's a romantic at heart.
He didn't keep it. Yeah, he returned it just to go back to buy it. Like, that's great.
Yeah. Also, the fact that the bat signal's in the sky when he proposes is just. It may be too on the nose, but I like it.
I mean, it's this whole idea that that isn't important right now.
Right. Well, sometimes that's what drives the point home even more. Like, that is just Batman. He's always needed, but they can wait, like Connor just said.
Yeah. And it goes back to, I think it was during the button where it was right at the end where the signal was there, and he contemplated whether or not to go and answer it.
Yeah.
And here he makes he's clear he's making the choice. Like, no, this is the moment that can wait.
Even in Batman Beyond, where Terry ignores it and bad stuff happens. There's a lot of that going on right now.
Which makes me wonder what bad stuff's going to happen that makes him recommitted to being the Batman.
Well.
Yeah. All right.
Let's not think about that.
That'll take us on is Superman number 24, Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason. Patrick Gleason also doing some art along with Doug Mahnke. So this is the next part of the Black Dawn arc. Obviously, we were very critical of the last issue. This one is an improvement, I'm happy to say. Some of the overall effects of some of the complaints from the last one still kind of linger a little bit. Namely, the build up to the reveal of Cobb and the daughter. Like, as much as I like that they turn out to be not bad people, and I can actually see what's her name? What's the girl's name again?
Kathy.
Thank you. I can see her actually sticking around now. Given that they're actually making her someone who is actually sympathetic, and given that she's now an alien who is kind of stranded, it kind of makes her relatable to Jaun and Clark. It's a nice.
Whereas,
yeah.
Where John's half human,
Yeah.
right, and was born there. This is his kind of in keeping the Superman mythos. Also, she looks a bit like a Brainiac to me.
Yeah, I can see it.
A little bit.
She looks Kaluan.
Because we see Manchester Black kind of strong arms them into sort of joining them by like he comes in and like saves them from this disaster kind of thing.
And then it's like, I saved you, so you've got to.
Yeah, and that's how they roped him in. And we can see right away that there's already some dissent where Cobb's kind of reconsidering, them helping him and that kind of thing. But some of the, as much as I'm liking kind of what they're taking with this now, it is some of the overall effect of how they kind of built up to the reveal. I feel like maybe they could have spent more time seeding some of this stuff. It feels a little bit kind of thrust upon us now in these last couple issues. But it's only better than last issue. The art layout issues we had last time aren't really here in this one. So that's nice. There's no ridiculous shock moment of Lois getting a leg cut off, which is also lovely.
Yeah. She is in the hospital.
She is in the hospital.
When we see her. Yeah. And we can't see her legs, so I'm a little bit worried.
I am positive they will fix it. I mean, I do actually like the pages of Superman leaving. It's like, you have to go. John needs you. Everyone needs you. And he stands sort of in front of the window. It's just the sort of the orange glow of the blinds coming through the blinds from the dawn, or not even dawn, dusk light.
And then you have the great shot of her looking out the window as after he flies off.
Yeah. So John actually shows up, and then Manchester Black basically, in his cocky manner, just kind of comes out and he's like, "Yep, me, mate."
I forgot how much I hated Manchester. Yeah, I forgot how much I hated this character, and not like I want him off, and I don't like when he's used. He's one of those characters like.
He's written to be hated.
Exactly.
He's basically just John Constantine, but like, evil
with telekinesis.
Yeah, sure, he's got a power, but like, just his attitude reminds me of him, and it's everything I don't like about John Constantine.
Well, it's
British dick.
A British dick, aye. Yeah. Speaking of, that's
Connor.
The
means. But yeah, the whole ends justify the means, kind of with him, and he's kind of been not corrupting because, but he's trying to pervert, I guess, John and turn him into that type of superhero where the ends justify the means, and he can get to him. He couldn't get through to Superman because Superman was already set, but he can get through him, and I'm still not exactly sure how he's doing that. Like, what is that stuff that he's using to control John? Like, it's from the swamp. Did he bring it with him from the...
it's the black goo from Alien Covenant and Prometheus.
There you go. That actually make that more... That actually make Covenant...
I do like the theme here of, the corrupting youth.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it is. It's like, no, you're formed, your ideals are already set. Yep. We can't do anything with that. But the youth, we can shape that. We can change that. And
he keeps saying this, cycles back around to the beginning of the show, that Superman needs an edge. And he's kind of like, well, no, he doesn't. Manchester Black is all edge. He's not a hero. Yeah. Superman's fine. He's gotten by this far. He doesn't need that edge. And I feel it's almost a meta commentary. Especially with what's going on with, the Justice League movie and Wonder Woman. It's all been in the front of our brain.
I'd expect that to play in hard to the final issue of this arc, when it all comes to a head and they stand up and it's like, we don't need that.
Yeah, and Superman wins kind of thing. And maybe even John kind of overcomes what's going on. It's actually a very simple issue. Manchester Black shows up, Superman tries to fight him, it doesn't go, so Crypto jumps in at one point. Cobb tries to actually help, and he gets apparently killed, leaving Kathy on her own, which is why I'm thinking, maybe they'll look after Kathy now. Maybe she'll become like a...
Batman takes in orphans.
Maybe Batman's around.
Maybe John and Kathy can get some of that Flash TV kind of weird, we're kind of brother-sister, but we really want to have sex too kind of thing going with her.
Maybe when they're about...
when they're old, I don't mean now, but like when they're older, they're going to... And it's going to be a bit creepy.
That she... Being green skinned, she could go off with Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh yeah,
do the Shea thing.
Just pretend she's their kid.
Exactly.
That'd work. So that's the thing. So Superman breaks free everyone else at the end, but then Manchester Black struggles and takes over Jaun's mind and turns him into Superboy Black, which is kind of the big cliffhanger at the end. So we've got a team of the previous, the Elite with Superboy Black, and that's who they're going to fight. I assume the next issue is the finale, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Damien's going to tee off on Jaun, and I'm not even going to be mad.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have to
deserve
pull
it
back.
a minute.
Yeah, like he's controlled. He can take a beating. He'll be fine. But they brought back up when Batman first showed up, and we had the first interaction between Jaun and Damien. That Jaun could end up being more powerful than Superman, and Manchester Black brings that back up. So, interested to see where it goes.
Yeah.
One art complaint: the second to last page. It's the panel where it's Superman. You have the Frankensteins and Batman and Robin behind him. Superman looks awful, like the chest.
Yeah,
it's just bad.
Yeah, he's kind of
looks rushed.
He's missing his the separation of his
his
moves.
They're
that
called
and then
pectorals,
it just dips.
His moves. They're moves.
It's that, and then it just dips into his stomach. Like there is no line. It just cuts off his chest. It's like, oh no, chest done, stomach now.
Yeah, it's almost like, because this is clearly Mahnke art, and it just looks like he really wanted to play with the shadows. And I think
but it just didn't work.
The better of him.
It went a bit extreme in where the chest meets the stomach, because it looks like it just sort of cuts off and sinks in. And it's like he's wearing a really extreme girdle that would kill anyone else, but Superman can handle it because he's Superman.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. I don't know.
Maybe that's what he's referring to. What have you done?
I will say, I agree with those complaints. I do like the shading on the faces, though. That's it. It's the heads and all the other characters in it are they're fine, but Superman's body is just ugly, and it kind of really ruined that panel for me. Which would be because it's kind of a good panel where you have them all stood there together, and it's like, okay, this is the team that we're going to be for the next issue, presumably. Yeah. Superman much better than the last issue. Some of the overall complaints of the rushing the town reveal of these various characters being monsters and Cobb's reveal. Some of that could have been better seeded, but I am liking the idea of keeping Kathy around now that she's a sympathetic alien kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's going interesting places now. Just last issue was definitely a bump in the road, as it were.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Good. Cool. So that'll take us on to Nightwing number 22. Tim Seeley writing and Miguel Mendonca on art. And I have to say, I really like this issue. This obviously started the blockbuster arc, which is setting up some more of the sort of the general Bloodhaven stuff. Like, again, we're establishing the city, characters in the city. It also re-establishes and kind of takes forward Nightwing and Sean's relationship. Like, the idea that he gets home after a night of doing heroics, and she was like, oh, I was going to surprise you and be all sexy, but I fell asleep.
I think that whole scene there is probably my favourite thing I've read all week.
It's the realest thing I've read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, it's, we still could, no, let's just go to sleep.
Yeah. Also, I like that when I thought that we're still going to have sex, I like that Nightwing kept his mask on for it.
Mask on,
yeah.
It's like, I know you like the mask, and then she eventually takes it off. They address it in the thing. I like that when because he's talking about going for an interview for a job, and he's like, kind of, there's a lot of stuff to do as Nightwing. I'm kind of doing this full time. And when she sort of brings up about doing something for himself and having an anchor that's, sort of a home life that keeps him to one place, it flashes back to that conversation he had with Babs.
On the tower of the bridge.
Yeah.
Like,
And I like that Babs is still in his head, because she should be. But I am enjoying this Sean relationship quite a bit, actually. It's feeling more authentic as it goes. They have good chemistry. And chemistry is a weird thing to talk about when it comes to comic book characters, because obviously, usually when you're talking about a movie or a TV show, it's like the actors have to have chemistry to make it kind of work. Whereas here, it's all about just how they write the characters, and to an extent they are, and how that's their reactions to each other. But
Seeley did such a good job making us care about Sean during that the Simon Hurt arc, You know, that now that she is safe and we know she's not with child, that, you know, they are going to try to make things work. And they're not being forced to be together. So, and it's a real relationship that we really don't see because Lois and Clark, right? They're a married couple. So we don't have to see them ironing
that's already
out.
been and done.
Yeah, and Bruce is very complicated with Selena, so...
Yeah, Lois and Clark is the kind of thing where, or maybe for a Valentine's issue, they'll make a point of saying, okay, they're going to have a date night and we'll have a bit of fun, like have them do something like that. But typically you don't
need to see that much because, like Lois said, that's been done. They're past that stage.
Yeah, so...
Right.
Yeah,
so here with Dick and Sean, it feels real. He comes trying to sneak in through the window, and she has all the candles lit. And, you know, it's the small things like that and the art. And I'd love to read what the script looked like if Seeley just let the artists kind of go do what they wanted to.
I think it's the strongest art of the issue as well. Like, I mean, I think it's good throughout, but I think this sequence, well, I think the soft orange glow of the candles really helps, but it just looks so good.
I think the facial expressions are particularly good.
That
too. Just the various expressions on their faces as they're like, you know, because like when Sean says, "Oh, it was going to be a naughty surprise," she's got this smirk on her face. It fits what she's saying. And then later on, when it gets sort of a little bit deeper, and she's like, "Oh, you didn't anchor," and she takes off the mask. Like, you see a bit more emotion come into it, and it's all very well.
It's the one that really gets me is it's the second page of that sequence at the end where where she's saying, "Oh, after everything we've been through, you think this is about money?" And she's got this. You can only see the side of her face because you're looking down there, lying on the sides, but she's got this little frown.
Yeah.
And just that concerned look. And there's barely anything in it in terms of actual movement that you can see, but it reads so well.
Yeah. I also really like that they're building this supporting cast for Nightwing with the Runaways, because he goes to the bar and he's talking to two.
The Runoffs.
The Runoffs. He's talking to Giz and what's the rodeo one called?
Stallion.
Stallion. There you go. So he's talking to them about looking for a job, and it seems like they're setting up that he's going to get a job at this bar. Which actually, I was actually confused for a second because I was like, wait, wasn't he already working at a bar? But that was in the original Nightwing series, so it actually makes sense that they're setting up that he's going to end up working at a bar because that was something he did in the original '90s series. But I did confuse me for a second.
As weird as this is with him and with Bloodhaven and the Runoffs, and because I haven't read the original Nightwing. So this is almost like a reboot where they're taking like the original series and just doing new things with the same concepts.
It's very much like kind of like how post-Crisis some characters were rebooted and they re-established everything they were. It feels like Rebirth, at least for Nightwing, is taking the fact that they rebooted with New 52 and they're using it now to actually build what people think of as Nightwing, what Nightwing really was. And sometimes different ways, sometimes using similar things and... but it seems to be building a lot of the same kind of things. Obviously, the other plot that's going through is Blockbuster himself, although it turns out at the end that he's actually the brother of the usual Blockbuster.
The second Blockbuster.
Yeah. And Tiger Shark thinks he's hired him to take out Nightwing, but obviously the big twist at the end is that Blockbuster wants to work with Nightwing. He's going to offer him a job for some reason. But we get all this introduction. We see him come into town and we see that he's friendly with some people. He goes into a casino. He notices that someone's counting cards. He steps in and that's what gets the attention of Tiger Shark, which makes me think he wanted Tiger Shark to notice him.
Yeah.
It feels like he was planting a seed
Tiger
for
Shark has such a cool look, doesn't he?
It does.
When he walks in the jacket, it's like,
and I love how he's a Dick Grayson villain. Like, first time I remember seeing him was in Snyder's Detective.
Yeah.
The Black Mirror. So it's good to see him pop up and feeding the sharks. Like, that's so brutal.
Oh yeah, see when he kills that guy who was cheating by like just putting him in a tank with two sharks. Oof, it was good. Yeah. Especially the end. It's when Blockbuster is looking at, and you just see the cloud of red in the water. Yeah, really nice touch. I'm going to be mean here, and I don't want Marvel fans to get too upset. But Tiger Shark's like sort of mask much better than Iron Fist's mask.
Well,
he carries it better.
That's fine. He also doesn't have the long. It's almost like his is like a buff, like you just pull down over. It's not the bandana that ties up.
Yeah, it's not tied, is it?
No. So They're different, but you can actually see out of Iron Fist because yes, Tiger Shark doesn't need to see. He can just look through. You'd guess it's Silk. He's fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a really fancy jacket on as well. That jacket looks expensive.
It does.
Yeah.
Right. Joe, okay, I'm putting out the biggest problem with this issue, and it's something that's been going on for the run since we moved to Bloodhaven. I'm sick of it. We need to put a stop to this
I just want to make a prediction here. This is going to be a really stupid complaint, Matt. Watch this. Cara, continue.
Go.
The Blood. Stop calling it The Blood. Stop trying to make that happen. It sounds stupid. Stop.
But I think that's the point, I think.
I didn't even notice.
Oh, man. Every time someone says The Blood and says it seriously, I can't take it seriously because it just sounds stupid. Well,
it seems to me it's part of them trying to redo the city and make it this neon, vacation homes. It's Atlantic City, basically. And, they're trying things.
It's not. I mean, I get that when it's from the people up top trying to do that, but when it's the regular people on the street saying it, which I think it was in this one near the start somewhere, I think. Can't remember now, but I remember reading it. It was one of those, and maybe it was one of the gang members or something. And I don't get it. It's not working for me at all, and it needs to stop.
I'm not saying I like it. I don't particularly like it, but I don't really care. I don't care either. So let's just let Connor suffer in solitary. That's fine.
I'm fully calling it The Blood from now on. More Bloodhaven.
Blood. Why would you call it that? I don't get it. No one would say that. It's stupid.
Well, it's like on the OC. Nobody calls Orange County the OC, and so on Arrested Development, they would constantly call that out. Like nobody calls it that. So
I'm going to call it out when they do it on this.
Oh,
yeah, no,
right.
it was one of the.
Are you from Bloodhaven, Connor? Is that what secretly this is? you escaped. You don't like them besmirching.
That's exactly. It was one of the gang members at that fight near the start. And he goes, "Oh, the Blood's got superheroes now." It's like, really, shut up.
The gang warfare. I'm sure that'll come up again. That'll be sort of maybe a running thing throughout the arc that maybe ties into stuff that's going on. But one of the gangs is from Metropolis, and then the other gang's like a local gang. They're at war.
Yeah.
Also, for the record, this blockbuster's name is Roland Desmond, as opposed to Mark Desmond, who was the other one.
I really like the art on that credits page. The title page where it's that gang war. And you've got him doing the jump and everything, and it looks great. It's
also, I think, just as we're getting to this point, it's really starting to feel like Nightwing. This is his city. He's out doing things. He's monitoring the crime that's going on. It really feels like it's starting to, as opposed to when he first arrived, he's like he was the new fish in town. Now it feels like he's part of this now, and this is his neck of the woods where he's looking out for things. So yeah. That was a great issue, Nightwing.
Was.
Digging it. Alright, so that'll take us on to Green Arrow, number 24, Benjamin Percy writing, Jaun E. Ferreyra on art. This is the conclusion to the Rise of Star City arc. And, first of all, the art's fantastic. Duh.
That should go without saying.
Ferreyra's been killing it. I mean, my only complaint is there was no rain in this issue, so it's not as good as the art as the past few issues, just because there was no rain. But other than that, fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
My only critique of the art is just that, as someone who reads on a tablet, could we have less double page spreads, please? That would be lovely.
Yeah.
But then
they look so good. They've got such good letters, like that first double page spread where it's all the star.
His layouts are fantastic. Like the way he's able to do that, and then looking at the city of Seattle and noticing all the different stars, like that plays a huge role in this one. Like you look through the art and you keep seeing stars everywhere. So I think that's a real nice touch.
I think this issue is actually really. I always skim through them again just before we record, just to refresh my memory, get things straight in my head. And one of the things that was clear when I skimmed through this again is It's actually a very straightforward, simple issue. There's two things going on essentially. Well, technically three if you include the mayor, which obviously ends up with the mayor saying, "Oh, now that this city's crumbled, that it shall rise as Star City." So I wonder if we're actually going down the route of Seattle is going to be named Star City.
That's not how that works.
Seattle got retconned.
Yeah. Like, a city goes through a tragedy, you don't rename it a new city. Like I don't get it. I mean, I'll buy anything Percy does because the dude loves werewolves.
I think the point is to say it's not Seattle anymore. Like, after everything that's been said, this isn't Seattle.
Is there a precedent for a city changing its name? Can we have an example?
That.
I mean, not like this, but just in any way, is there an example of a city saying, look, the government says, I think we're going to want to change the name, and they promote it and they convince people, and they do it. Is there an example in real life? Do we have a precedent for this?
Las Vegas used to be Los Vegas because we didn't want to be confused with Las Vegas, New Mexico. But then we just threw that out, 5 years in. So that was simple, changing a letter.
Yeah,
but no, like,
deal,
no, New York was New Amsterdam at one point, but that was all colonial. Like, it's not like this. It's been Seattle for 300 years, and now it's Star City.
That's it. That's it. As much as it is kind of far-fetched, I don't think it's so far-fetched that I wouldn't accept that somehow, somewhere, a city might change its name. I'm not saying necessarily these events would.
I think what will really bother me is they need a good reason to tell me why they picked Star City. Like, why are you going to settle on that? Like,
that's fair.
It's not a normal name.
I feel like in real life they'd have a vote for it. You'd have this city vote.
Well, no, because that's when you end up with Boaty McBoatface City.
No, you wouldn't give them the choices. you would come up with the option of what it would change to, and then they would vote for yes or no. Like, do we change it?
Right.
I just feel like this is a nice change. Instead of just having him relocate to Star City and like, oh, it's just down the coast from Seattle, and this is where he actually grew up, and he moved to Seattle. This at least is something different enough. Like, oh, we're gonna play around with them putting him in Seattle from day one, which was always just weird, from the New 52.
Yeah. I always didn't like that either, because I feel like, Batman's got Gotham, Superman's got Metropolis, so on, Flash has Central, Wally Flash has Keys, like, they all have their cities, and I like that about DC, and he has Star
Hal
City.
Had Coast City.
City, of course.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, he's just in Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it also works hand in hand with what the bad guys are trying to do, because they're completely, they're establishing a new order. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
I do want to say, this issue kind of stabbed me on a negative.
Mm-hmm.
That very first page, it set me in a negative light for Ollie. Like, going forward, like, this is the hero, and he kind of comes off like a dick.
But that's Oliver Queen.
Yeah, but, like, I get that he's doing a nice thing, but he's literally, like, scaring these people into giving this homeless man money, and it's like, this isn't how you're supposed to be doing this. Well, no. He asked the leftovers first, but then he's like, come on, you must have something else. And they throw money at the guy, like, quite a lot of it.
I read that as him being on edge, like he's because of the heightened emotions, because of everything that's going on. I read that as him being high-strung.
Looking for a fight.
Yeah, which is because immediately after this, he immediately goes to the Queen Industries in the middle of the city. He goes to the secret base, and that's like his whole part of the issue. Is he goes down there, he meets Broderick in the mask. He ends up fighting them all. Broderick tries to convince him, like, "Oh, join us. We need a queen at the center of the star," and blah 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 blah. And then as he tries to escape in this weird stone thing, Ollie shoots the flame, and he burns alive. And it's probably the best art of the issue is him in the mask, like, burning in this thing.
Bye, Broderick.
Yeah.
But indeed. And ultimately it convinces him against everything that Black Canary's been trying to argue with him recently, that no, you have to save the city as Green Arrow, like Oliver Queen's done. And he basically says, no, all of this was built in the name of Queen. I am going to fix that name. I have to do this as Oliver Queen. Which is why the end is ultimately him put I don't know why he didn't really have to put his outfit in the garbage, but whatever. He puts his outfit in the garbage.
Symbolic.
And he walks into in front of everyone and is like, I'm Oliver Queen and I'm taking back my city. or my company rather. That was the
You're
show.
going to jail first.
That was the show infecting my head there. I was almost going to you have failed this city. But no.
So I wonder where it's going from here now, because is he going? Are we going to get the trial of Oliver Queen?
Maybe.
Like, are we? Also, I just noticed this looking at the art again. Oliver Queen wears Vans, high tops. Like,
what a dick.
Yeah, kind of like just wear the low tops, man. You're not skateboarding. You don't need
Also,
the high tops.
his arms look huge in that
Oh,
final
dude,
page.
yoked. Yeah.
Like, he has never looked as ripped as in that. Like, but he always kind of comes off as kind of wiry. I know he's got to be strong because like, the amount that it takes to pull the bow and all that, and he's always come off as strong, but he's kind of wiry. But like, you see him there, and he's just hench.
Yeah, he looks like a power lifter. Like he looks like he should be in the Olympics. In that bar. But yeah, I liked the Team Arrow stuff in this one too.
That's what I was just about to say. Actually, is the other stuff was the two Red Arrows, as it were, teaming up and doing stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
You're not Red Arrow.
Matt, you go. Mike. But the like them bickering as they're fighting the bad guys, and then because they're fighting Brick and Cheshire, and then at the end it's like, oh yeah, another win for Red Arrow. Emmy says, and he's like, "You're not Red Arrow. Stop calling yourself that."
Yeah. And I like too that Emmy is really coming into her own, and she's just talking trash to Brick the entire time, while Roy is dealing with Cheshire. He's kind of hitting on her too, kind of like trying to pull her off her game, which I like.
It's kind of like not as genuine, but more of a kind of like a Batman Catwoman kind of thing.
Yeah,
in the early days.
Except she will literally kill him. Like Selena's never really gonna harm Bruce beyond what she needs to.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Cheshire, if she gets a piece of Roy.
I do love how Brick gets taken down though. He's walking along, and then it turns out Black Canary was just in the tree right next to his head, and just full on banshee streams into the side of his head.
Sure, that's great, but that's nothing compared to her pun.
Yeah.
Go on, tell us a pun.
Yeah, when he goes down and she shouts over to Arsenal, and it's like, hey, he went down like a ton of bricks. I love it.
It has the most painfully bad puns. Even Arsenal calls it out.
Yeah. When he's calling out your puns. Yep. Yeah, maybe not the best sign.
But they feel like a team. And like it feels right. And I like that they've done. That's not just the Green Arrow book. It's almost the Green Arrow on Pals.
It's Team Arrow. It's the Team Arrow book. And well, I think if we do get the trial of Oliver, if Oliver's like in prison / court for the next arc, I can see like the team having to be the heroes outside and do stuff maybe. Yep. If there is a threat outside, like I can see these three doing that. So that's we got one scene with Fife as well. He's working.
So I was gonna bring up
in Queen Industries. Just there's one page. They basically just show that he's been taken care of, as is his grandmother, financially.
So Roderick's gone now, and we could assume that Queen Industries is going to be a leader. Need a leader. Do you think when Ollie gets out of jail, Fife has completely cleaned up Queen Industries? Because who else is there? Like, why else put him there? Like, he's working on all this good technology that's gonna. Not only is he creating batteries, but they desalinate water, so you can get potable water from it. Like. And Broderick's playing up whatever you want, but first we need to work on defense contracts, because that's where the real money is. It's like, why else are we going to put him there?
I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't know if he's in the position to clean up the company, and like I can't imagine the chain of command that ends up with him being the next in line to head things up. But I don't know. Maybe he'll be able to do something like that. Maybe it's just like our way back into the company, because we've got someone in there now. He will help Arrow and the rest of them again, kind of thing. But no, that was a job into the arc, and it ends obviously in this big cliffhanger of Oliver being arrested because he's still wanted for murder, and I guess that'll lead us spinning in nicely into whatever the next arc is. So
it's called Broken Arrow. I know issue 26 is... I think this might be a shorter arc, because I saw Stephen Byrne put on Facebook that he's on issue 26, and I think it was Green Arrow and Flash.
Interesting. Okay. All right. It is worth mentioning that issue 25 is a longer issue, as are all the 25s coming later this month. So it might just be like one big sort of issue that deals with this arrest. It could be that as well.
Yeah.
So, all right, that'll take us on to Green Lanterns number 24. Sam Humphries writing, Carlo Barberi on art. So this is the final part of this sort of 3-issue arc, which is Lost in Space. This is the two Lanterns being trained by Guy and Kyle, respectively. And I thought it was another sort of fun conclusion. It kind of continued some stuff in the last issue in terms of structure. Mm-hmm. We get another flashback to one of the first Lanterns getting their ring. In this case, it was a white Martian who was who was wronged by other white Martians and needed revenge.
It seemed like the most Western we've gotten in a while.
It did. It was very Western, but white Martians on Mars. So we got that. Obviously, at the end of the cliffhanger, we're heading into the next arc where they're going after, was it the Black Vault or the Shadow Vault?
Yeah, the Shadow Vault, because they're looking for for the original 7 GL rings.
And of course, Volthum and Rami has found out that Jessica's wearing one of the original rings, so he's going to try and steal that along with the rest.
I like that this changes, the idea that we've been talking about how her ring's got all this personality.
Yeah.
And now I'm going, was it Jessica, or was it that this ring is just special?
I feel like it was both.
Are all the first 7 like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I feel because of her origin and how emotionally volatile she is, that's why the ring came to her. And why was it out to begin with? Because we always thought, like, now that we know that they're having a hard time picking new rings, right? Why did or rings picking new recruits? Why was it able to come and find her? Like, there's all this other stuff, and I like now that it was one of the original rings, and it gives her character that much more importance. And not that she needs it, but it makes her like, well, this is why she's a Lantern.
I'm really happy how much attention she's getting here. Even in Justice League this week as well, she gets some attention, and I feel like they're really developing her as one of the main characters of the universe right now, and I like that. I like she's getting that much page time, as it were. Rest of the issue, of course, is the training, where this was just more fun stuff, really, with bantering between the Lanterns.
I feel like I didn't enjoy it as much as the previous issue. This stuff, because it was just a bit more of the same. It didn't have as much of the point to it, whereas before it had all the lessons, whereas here it was just like, right, let's just do the fun bit.
To be fair, I mean, it ends quicker because obviously we get to the point where they sort of graduate, as it were. I do want to point out one of my pages that really it's near the start after Jessica's punched Guy. And in her head, she's like getting really anxious. Oh my god, I've just ruined my chances of being a Green Lantern. I've just punched Guy, and like he says something like, "Oh, good punch, but it takes more than one to put me down." And then she responds, "That's not what Batman told me." And then in her head, it says, "No, Jessica, no, you're making it worse."
Yeah.
So the one punch thing is continuity.
Yeah, apparently.
I have a couple of art criticisms. One's on the next page. After that, it's the small box. So Guy's standing there with the big baseball bat. The panel on the left of her, like she just kind of looks strange to me.
She is looking a bit strange. I did mostly like the art in this issue. I do think it has that thing where it feels really different from the rest of the issues that we just had. Everyone looks a little bit younger than they usually do, but I actually do like it. It is different.
I do like it outside of some actual problem like that one, and then the big page at the end where they all put the lights up and the rings up and Green Lantern's light.
Yeah.
Jessica's leg is very strange.
It's a frustrating page because I actually love that page. I agree with the criticisms, but I'm pretty sure it's the first time I've had all 6 Lanterns like that and on the one page doing the.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's a great page. All 6 Lanterns and Kilowog.
And Kilowog behind them.
Yeah.
But it's a fantastic page, but. What is going on with her leg and her ankle specifically?
It's one of those things. Certain artists can't draw feet.
Well, no, but
apparently
it's like Liefeld.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
She doesn't have an ankle.
Yeah, if you ignore the feet though, it's a great page.
Yeah. But just cover
Actually,
that bit with my hand.
Yeah.
I'm looking. There's not a lot of feet drawn throughout this entire issue.
Yeah.
And if they are, they're always at an angle. So. I just think it's a weak point in the artist's you know.
I think this is a case of the artist is really good. He's really good with faces and the expressions and stuff. Just occasionally, the anatomy can get a bit weird if they're in a not normal, because that panel you talked about with Jessica near the start, she's in like a sort of like lying down but looking around, so she's sort of twisted.
Yeah, and it looks really contorted.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like weirder poses like that, maybe the artist struggles here, Carlo. I can see that being the case, and then obviously the feet seem to be an issue.
I will trade perfect art for the emotion, because when I turn that page,
oh yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
all of that, I fist pumped. Like it was.
It
what I've been missing in a GL.
I didn't go straight to it. As I was looking at the page, I kind of realized, and then once I'd realized, I couldn't stop seeing it.
No, it was great because they all do that, and then you turn the page, and then like they're sitting around having drinks and just kind of like celebrating, and Jessica runs up and hugs Hal because she's happy to see him, and all the rest of it. And that's basically that's the gist of the issue. Nothing more deep to discuss, but I thought it was a fun conclusion. I enjoyed my time. Had some fun stuff like that big page at the end, and I enjoyed the flashback to the new First Lantern again, or one of the first 7 lanterns.
Yeah, I agree.
And and I'm I think they've spent the time building up with this next. We're really going to get to this Volthoom Rami plot that we're
that feels
to.
That's the next thing.
Yeah. So so there you go. That's Green Lanterns. That'll take us on to Justice League number 22. Shea, Fontana writing, and Phil Briones on art. Now, we've not been typically reading Justice League. Me and Matt, I think, struggled it out to the start of the second arc, and then we're like,
me.
Was it you?
Yeah, it was me.
Okay.
Yeah, yep. I quit after that first one, after all the giant thing.
That's fair. That's fair. But basically, we didn't like Brian Hitch as a writer, and it was getting really repetitive and just not very good. So we stopped reading. I think we dipped in for one like tie-in issue to the event in December, but because that was
that was by Seeley maybe.
Yeah, I think that was Seeley again.
That was the Steve Trevor issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim Seeley likes Steve Trevor apparently. More on that later. But no, so the reason why we did this, because first of all, it's not Hitch. It's a one-off sort of fill-in. So that potentially was worth reading just because it's that. But it's also the writer Shea Fontana is the writer who's doing the 5 or 6 issue arc on Wonder Woman after Rucka leaves.
Yep.
I didn't know we knew how long it was. Just the temporary.
Yeah, it was like
story.
5 or 6. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but I remember them saying what it was. It was 5 or 6. So we weren't familiar with her work, so we were curious to check it out. So we actually ended up all reading this. So it was kind of a last minute thing where I found out about this last night and made a point of reading it for the show. So here we are. This was a pretty fun little one thing. Like I say, Jessica got some good time in this. It was basically they're in the Watchtower. Lois and Jaun are there. Lois is doing like a puff piece on the Watchtower for the planet, and the Green Lanterns are basically out dealing with some asteroids that are going to hit Earth, and they're talking about appearing professional in front of the rest of them, and then, which is why I love when they go back onto the Watchtower, and Simon's like try to high five everyone, and like they all react, like Diana's like, oh, I appreciate your your show of affection kind of thing, and then Batman's just like, and then Simon's like, handshake, sir.
There's a couple of great Batman moments. It's I think the page before that, where John's really excited behind him, and Batman just kind of grunts, and John just gives him evils and then storms off, basically. Yeah,
that's great. Actually, one of my favourite Batman things in this issue is I like that later on, when stuff goes down, because basically, if we find out the Green Lanterns brought in like a sort of little bug parasite thing, and they have to be quarantined, and they can't go down into the...
Yeah, because they were out smashing asteroids, to keep the satellite safe and whatnot, and it looks like they brought back something.
So once that all gets going, though, I love that, like, so Batman's like, or Lois is like, I'm going to start investigating the science of this, and Batman's like, you're going to investigate? Because he's Batman. And she's like, yeah, I'm a good reporter, I'll have you know, I'm an investigative journalist. And then by the end of the page, though, she actually figures it out. And it's actually a really fun page. Her facial expression kind of, because it's all these sort of very sort of thin horizontal panels of her face kind of changing as she's looking through things with dialogue. And at the bottom, when she finds out something, Bruce does turn around and say prize-worthy Lois, because she made one of her points was that she was a prize-winning journalist.
Yeah.
So it was a nice little, because obviously you get the idea that Batman and Lois probably know each other relatively well now that Superman Reborn kind of rejiggered the history.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we kind of get that relationship back where he's kind of familiar with Lois to this extent, where he can crack a little smirk and joke at her.
Yeah.
But I like that. That's cool.
This issue is full of just little moments. Another one is, I think it's just before that page you're talking about, where they're discussing whether or not they need to. It's where they quarantine it. But they've got Aquaman and Flash in on like the holographic hot comms to get their opinions. And John's just there putting his finger through Flash's holographic head.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. I don't know how the decision came about to have Jaun be around in this issue, but it's kind of great.
It is.
I also like that Jaun seems to be very friendly with Simon. Like, he's like, "Hey, Baz!" And he's the first high five. So there's a lot of fun stuff like this. And like I say, it's a Jessica issue, probably more so than anyone else's, because she feels really anxious about the fact that, oh wait, I screwed up again. I brought this parasite on board and all the rest of it.
And you see Baz too, he's like upset that they're considered the rookies still.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, we messed up. And you see him throw the chair in like his quarters. And then Wonder Woman comes in kind of like to... I didn't think she was coming to calm him down, but definitely she's going to talk with him because they need to... him and Jessica need to be a unit still.
Yeah. And she makes him train with her, and they fight, and... Like, they kind of beat her, and then she's like, oh no, you give up your foot. And it was almost like the Batman Begins thing with Ra's al Ghul, where he's like, oh, you've sacrificed your footing for a king stroke. And then she sweeps the leg, basically. And then the monster swarm happens, and then they fight it, and they deal with it. And they realise it's because the Queen's attached to Jessica, it's her emotions that are controlling it, so she has to just get control of herself, and that's what ends up fixing it. And then her and Baz take it away. But then again, it's the character stuff that makes this issue work, because at the end of the issue, Wonder Woman's like, no, I wasn't training you and Simon, I was training with you and Simon.
Right.
You're part of the team, and I think the point of this issue more than anything was to make them feel a bit more established as part of the team. Which is because I think they say at the start, oh, every time we walk in the room, it takes them a minute to remember we're not Hal Jordan. Was one of the lines. So also another fun little moment I liked was Cyborg playing video games with John. He's like, no, you're playing video games? Here's a fancy hologram video game.
Yeah. So. I also like that when they dispose of the parasites, which they don't kill, like they treat with respect.
Yeah.
Like, this is an
they
alien
didn't do anything
thing.
wrong.
Yeah, like they're just reacting to what they are.
Because that was one of the points at the start, actually, when they're discussing it. And they're like, oh, let's kill them. I think it's Wonder Woman who says, no, the life forms could be sentient. Even just because they're small doesn't mean they're not intelligent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so they go to take them to a farther away, like, asteroid field so they can keep living. But Simon's put them in a ant form.
Yeah. It really feels like he's learned his lessons
from Kyle.
Yeah. It's like he's a bit more inventive.
Yeah, synergy.
Because before it would have been just a jar, a big bucket.
Yep. Yeah.
But no, now he's gone, I'll put an ant farm.
Yeah,
and he's like...
It's nice.
And so Jessica's like, did you have to put him in an ant farm? I was like, no, they love it. Look, I gave him a little barn. Like, it's great. Like, and it was full of personality, so I'm looking forward to what Fontana does. And as we were talking, I was looking up, it is 5 issues.
Right. Can we get Jessica on this arc, please?
I think it would be cool.
Well, I like... There's not a ton of Wonder Woman, but the Wonder Woman that's here seems good. Yeah. So it seems like she's got a handle on that. And then she has a presence to her. Like, she writes her as a stateswoman, almost, even amongst all these superheroes. And we mentioned the ending when Wonder Woman says, "No, I was training with you, steel sharpens steel," kind of thing. I just love the final panel as Jessica like, "Oh, I'll be 1 minute," and she just flies outside into space and just so she can squeal in happiness.
Love that you can just see Wonder Woman and Baz at the bottom just looking up at her going, basically, what a nerd.
Admittedly, I actually like the art throughout this show. I do think her pose in that flying in space shot is a bit weird.
It is strange, yeah. But the rest of it's pretty good.
Yeah, the rest of it is pretty good. It's just that weird upside down, sticking out the boob shot for some reason is just really obscure looking.
Yeah. And I have to say, this has left me looking forward to that coming up arc on Wonder Woman, because, like I said, I didn't really know what to expect. I'd never read any of her work before, but...
I'm assuming they're telling the truth that it's temporary, but I'm wondering if this issue and then the 5 issue on Wonder Woman is like a little test for her, because maybe they're thinking of her for something else full time for another ongoing.
Yeah. Well, because she already writes the Superhero Girls series, so and this was super light, and it was nice to have a Justice League book that wasn't about the world ending. It was
I
them
agree.
interacting as a team, and we need more of that. So even if like this was her tryout, so after Wonder Woman she goes to Justice League, I wouldn't mind stories that are more light like this, and it's about them problem solving.
I often say this, but like you have the events for the big end of the world stuff. I feel like my perfect ongoing Justice League book is basically Justice League as a sitcom set in the Watchtower, where it's just them hanging out and like dealing with stupid. Like I want an issue of Justice League where Cyborg is arguing with Flash or maybe Aquaman because he's not like cleaning the toilet after himself or something. You know, some mundane issue about living together on the Watchtower.
Well, I would love Cyborg just going, Flash, it would take you less than a millisecond to clean the bathroom.
And he's like, it's the principle that matter. So
Vic,
it's the principle. I'm not doing
it.
it.
Yeah. It goes back to, I think it was in John's Justice League, where they were like, come on, Barry, it'll take you 10 seconds. It'll take us 3 days. And he's like, yeah, it'll be 10 seconds for you, but for me it still feels like days.
Yeah.
This is a fun issue. I really hope they get Hitch off Justice League soon and put someone like Shea on this book, because it was just fun.
This was a lot of fun.
It was fun. It was just good character stuff. I mean, it wasn't the most amazing story ever, but it was the fun. I mean, I think in a book where you have all your characters together, that's kind of what you want more than anything else. You want them playing off each other. You want those interesting dynamics.
It was nice to have an issue of this book to pop in and go, oh, I can read an issue of Justice League, and it's fun. This is nice.
And it is completely standalone. You don't have to be reading the series to enjoy this.
Exactly. And I like that.
And like we said, it ties nicely into what's been going on with the Lanterns and Green Lantern. So
it's definitely worth getting and showing DC the message that we like this.
If anything, I'd almost argue they should put this in the Green Lanterns trade that would correspond. Like maybe after the arc we just read, put this issue in there in that trade rather than in Justice League.
Yeah.
That's there you go. That's Justice League 22. That'll take us on to an oddity. This is Wonder Woman Steve Trevor Special Issue 1, Tim Seeley writing, Christian Duce on art. This was something that popped up in the solicits without any, because usually when there's something like this, they'll make an announcement, there's something coming in this month that's new or whatever. This just popped into the solicits, super under the radar. We noticed it, and we're like, is this worth reading? It's like, it's Tim Seeley, so I guess it's kind of worth reading. And we didn't know what it was. Basically, if you saw the Wonder Woman movie, this was their way of introducing Steve Trevor's team of sort of misfit like commandos that he has. What are they called? Oddfellows?
The Oddfellows, which I love.
Yeah,
I love that that's their name.
It's basically
because they worked for the Argus in the Black Room, which was it the Red Room that had all the artifacts in it in John's Justice League?
I think
we saw Viking Princess boat, and they always hinted at the Black Room. And I like that there's more here.
Yeah, this was basically them introducing these characters into present day DC continuity. And I really like the stuff with Wonder Woman at the start, where she's talking about, we're going to have a date tonight, aren't we? You're going to be affectionate, and there's going to be flirting and maybe light touching. It's like it's because she's holding the lasso. She's being like brutally honest about what she's expecting from the date.
and he's basically like, yes, dear.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Yes. And even the title page introduced him as like Wonder Woman's boyfriend, Steve Trevor and then whatever the title was.
Yep. So I just want to talk on the guys that they're fighting at the beginning, and they're quote Menonists, and they're wearing XY shirts about the chromosomes. I love the little touches that this is who Wonder Woman and Steve are fighting before they go on the adventure.
No, it's when she's got the lasso around the bad guy, and he ends up answering why he doesn't like women. He's like, it's because I'm insecure and I have self-loathing.
Exactly. And it's just...
I think the funniest part about that for me was, and maybe this is a little bit of annoyance because it was a bit on the nose, is that he wasn't even asked. It wasn't a question. He just offered that.
Yeah, that's fair. But it was still quite funny, though.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, I think and the creature they end up unleashing is very phallic looking too,
which they even again. I think it was a bit on the nose that they mentioned. Just have some subtext.
So basically, the actual plot, this was just kind of the prelude to the actual story. No, it is important because it opens with Steve and his narration talking about how he found paradise and he brought a little bit of paradise back, meaning Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
The main story is that his comrades. He sort of says, "Right, we'll need to take a rain check on a date. We'll do that when I get back." But he's and I actually kind of I like that. She says, "Oh, can you tell me where you're going?" And he says, "Only if you put that lasso on me." But she trusts him not to do it. She's not going to force him to tell her. It's like, no, she accepts that. No, some secrets, and you'll have a good reason. But he goes off and finds his comrades who are in a bit of spot of bother with these villains. What's the villain's name? I'm forgetting now. It wasn't a super well known.
No, but she had some like dark side fury. Saturna.
There you go, Saturna.
She had some dark side new god fury like vibe to her that I liked.
Yeah, so she's got them all trapped, and there's this old woman that she's there, and she's trying to get the old woman to tell her something. But just the issue is that basically once the team get her away, the team say where she came from, and it's basically this hidden paradise that's hidden in a cave where there's like a sort of fountain or river of youth where they keep drinking it, and we find out that all these kids that are in there are actually hundreds of years old, and that this old woman's actually been there for like 300 years, and she grew old really quickly once she left the cave because she wasn't there and she wasn't taking the drink.
Yep.
And the bad guys follow them back, and there's a bit of a fight. But the ultimate gist of the issue is, other than introducing these teammates for the comic universe, is it's just a little bit of a personal issue for Steve, where he's like, he feels guilty sometimes that he took Diana away from her paradise.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the issue is, because he feels a little bit guilty that this fight had to happen in this new paradise. And that's why the team called him and not Argus, is because he would understand and they'd leave it be. They wouldn't interfere, because if Argus find out about it, they're going to want to come and manipulate it and use it for their own gain and other things. So is that.
Yeah, he's the guy that found paradise and brought a piece of it back with him, and I like that.
Yeah, but he feels guilty about it, and I think that's an interesting little quirk to his character that maybe I hadn't considered before. That he does feel kind of guilty that he took Diana away from that he's responsible.
Yeah, I think he feels more guilty as well after what we've learned in Rucker's one, where she can't go back. She never has been back. Maybe that would play into it, that he took her away from.
I think it absolutely does, because obviously they believed up until a point that she had been going back, and then it turned out that she wasn't. So I think the guilt is almost fresh in that sense, because she can't go home again. So, I
thought it was fun. It wasn't amazing.
Yeah, it was a decent little issue with a little idea behind the story, a little bit of heart behind it. I don't think it was a must read per se, but I don't think it's bad.
I thought it was interesting that was 2 mentions of red skies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because the leader, the woman we're talking about, their group is called their group's called Crimson Men, and their whole thing is they believe the world will perish under red skies.
Mm.
And when she gets to the paradise bit, she goes, when the red skies come.
Yeah. So maybe, and at the end, we see that she might still be alive under all the rubble at this paradise place, and it says "end?" ? Which makes me think. I don't think there's going to be more one shots. I think this she will pop up again in something else. Maybe a Wonder Woman proper, maybe something else. But
yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to continue my trend of super nitpicky things. I even tweeted this at Seeley. And
oh God, I know what he's going to say.
I did.
Way to go.
Yeah, I tweeted it, and he apologised. He was like, I researched it. And
are you hearing this, folks? He made Tim Seeley apologise for one of his stupid nitpicks.
Yeah. This is true. So he says at one point they say Scotch whiskey, but they spell whiskey with an E, and Scotch has no E. E's only for bourbons and Irish. It's just inaccurate.
As a straight edge individual, I'm so mad at you right now.
Well, it's not even.
You get Tim Seeley's attention over alcohol, but not to thank him for a fun issue of seeing Trevor.
No, this is the thing, right? He complained that because Scottish whiskey and Irish whiskey are spelt a different way. I'm Scottish and I don't care.
It's because they're made from different ingredients, so they're spelt so it's a separate thing. So they're like distinguished as one is made from this, one is made from the other. So they're distinguished like that way.
Does it upset you that I know they have different spellings, but I could never tell you which one was which?
Yeah, you're a dick, so I don't care.
The most I ever learned about Scotch was that Lex Luthor on Smallville preferred a single malt Scotch, and that made him hoity-toity.
Don't lower this conversation even more by bringing in Smallville.
A man with taste is what that is.
Yeah, it just sounds hoity-toity to me. That said, I'm the guy that drank the Icelandic brand of water only for a year and a half before I got tired of paying extra because it looked like Viking water. So who am I to judge?
I knew that was going to be the reason.
Did you get like a big Viking gauntlet to drink it out of to make yourself feel that bit more?
I did until my wife took it away.
I do occasionally see online these big Viking horn to drink out of pop up, and every so often I go, I should send Matt one of those.
You should.
I mean, I know they're for beer and stuff, but I know you don't drink. But I was like, he'll drink anything out of that.
He'll put Monster in it. That's fine.
Yeah, just know that I'll put coffee or Monster in it, and
yeah.
I'll be my own berserker.
Jesus. Alright, that'll take us on to Deathstroke number 20, Christopher Priest writing and Carlo Pagulayan on art. Now, I have not caught up yet. I still intend to, but I still have like 4 left before the crossover to get to. But you guys read this, so by all means, what was Deathstroke 20 about, and was it any good?
Yeah, so this is actually it's an epilogue. Like, it's actually billed as an epilogue to the Lazarus contract.
Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. Right.
So it's almost part of that before the next arc starts.
Yeah, because the next one next month, because the single shipping now, the next one's when we get that cover with all the white hero suits and
yes,
yeah.
And I'm happy that it's single shipping, so because that just lightens up my load of reading.
Week
I'm
one,
a little bit sad because I'm enjoying it, but yeah, exactly.
Anyways, we just trying to be a new man.
See when I go to a book that you two have read, I really should specify who should talk first, because that was that's twice there in the last minute where you're both
that was the problem. The first time we both went to speak, and then we were like, right, we'll let the other one go.
Yeah. So you get you can't understand anything either of you're saying, and then you get the awkward pause of like, wait, no,
Connor, you go.
Right. So this issue is a lot about Slade's relationship with his sons again, because that's kind of been a big theme of Priest's run.
His family, because you also get a little bit of Dr. Icon, and a little bit of Wintergreen and Power Girl, who looks like she's going to be getting a new name because Slade calls her out on that and is like, "You're borrowing powers, you're borrowing a name. You need to stand on your own."
And also, the most important part of the issue, we talk about how Slade's a reformed man, and that's kind of him trying to convince everyone here. He brings her a new dog.
Which, that's just...
It's a little puppy.
It still doesn't...
It doesn't make up for it, no.
No.
But, still, it's a start.
It tells me he really hasn't learned. Like, he's putting steps forward, and that's the whole point of this upcoming story arc, but... He hasn't learned what it actually means. He's going through the motions.
That's the point. I think he does genuinely feel, regret, and he wants to change, but I don't think he knows how. I don't think he knows what he's supposed to do. So this is just a gesture of goes, this is what I should do, but and he means it. Like, he's genuine in what he's doing, but he doesn't really understand it either.
Yeah, that could be it, but. Yeah, I do like where it's going. I just feel like it's kind of more interesting than what we got in the Lazarus contract. I wish now that it wasn't such a big crossover, they didn't make a big deal of it, because we're still missing pieces here. We see Rose, and it looks like Joey smashed her head in pretty good.
Yeah.
She has, she came out of surgery. She's married to that one dude just to piss off Slade, and he's there. They're coming home, and she takes off her hair, and it turns out it's a wig.
And it's got these awful scars on her head now.
Yeah. So I still want to know what happened at that wedding, and I know they're leaving it out, but I feel like it would inform us a little bit more.
I agree. I think, like I said when we talked about Lazarus contract at the end of it, I like what it set up going forward, and I like this new status quo. I like what this is doing, but I kind of wish we'd had that bit in the middle just be better. I think we mentioned how Priest just hasn't played well with him stepping into everyone else's stories.
No.
I think that's it. Like, when it's here, when it's in his story, it's great. And I feel like if we just had the same effect, but in just his story, like the original plan, it would have been so much better.
Definitely. And I just want to real quick touch on the art with Joey.
Pagulayan,
Yeah, is that he draws the sign language, because when you first see that Joey's in a attic meeting, it looks like he's talking to the nun that's hosting it. And you think, oh man, he jumped into it, now he's using her to speak, but no, because it's not done in that font that usually is when he's jumped into
green
someone.
And black.
Yeah, the green and black speech bubbles, yeah.
She's speaking for him, and you clearly see he's doing sign language.
Yeah, she's just translating. It's a nice touch, isn't it?
It is a nice touch, and it turned what we expect from Joey on the head. And I almost... Slade's a character that doesn't really need an arc, is I feel like we're getting the arc out of Rose and Joey. And if that's what we get out of here, and like by him changing or not changing, we get change from the two remaining kids. I think it's done a really good job.
I thought that scene in the addicts meeting was really interesting, because it was like he was worried to use his powers, even just to communicate. Like he's resorting to basics. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I could possess this woman, and I feel like maybe if this was a meeting that it would have been okay. Like he would have had permission to do that, almost just to speak easier. Right. But he made the choice to limit himself, and he's really struggling with that.
He's reaching out for help. He's realizing he can't do it by himself.
Yeah.
So, and that is good. And we get some of him with his dad on the plane, and kind of they're forming that team. And he doesn't want to be a part of it, but he's going to do it just to make sure, basically to keep him honest. Because this, him not being honest is what's turned Dr. Icon into this creature that it looks like is going to be the new antagonist.
Seems to be, yeah. So, and then the final page, we get the team pretty much together. We don't have Wally yet that we saw.
And is that Adeline Kane in the back behind Rose?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay. Which that's interesting, because after reading the Judas contract, having her on the team with Joey and Rose and all that. Yeah. Wintergreen.
I like the name of the team, the Dark Titans.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know that. That's...
Yeah. That's it. It kind of pops up as that's the final box that says our next is the Dark Titans, and I kind of like the idea that Slade calls them that, like this kind of twisted respect almost.
That's cool.
Well, he also had a Dark Titans team back when John was writing Teen Titans that featured Ravagers. Though
we have 3 Titan teams now, so that's nice.
Yeah. Titans, Dark Titans, Teen Titans.
And potentially, if we get like Young Justice at some point with Cassie and...
Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
What? Just do Cassie and the rest of that team, that era.
Yeah, who else is on that team? He's doing it, Connor. He's doing it.
I'm aware of this.
Who was on that team? I'm drawing a blank. I'm picturing the cover. I remember Cyborg being there, so obviously he won't be on the team now in this version.
I'm moving on before I say something I regret.
There was definitely no Superman related character on that team. I'd recall that. I'd be very distinctly remember that. Okay, let's move on to the Fall and Rise of Captain Atom number 6. This is the finale of this arc. Did we do issue 5? Was that one that
we did.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I feel like we'd maybe dropped one issue or skipped one on the show for a reason.
I'm wishing I skipped this entire miniseries.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
This was very, 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 very wordy.
Oh, but that's why I hated about the first issue. That's why I dropped it. But just before you continue with your thoughts, just to say the team: Cary Bates and Greg Weisman writing, and Conrad on art. Go.
I think.
All right.
This is probably the worst issue of the 6.
Easy.
I think it really didn't know what to do at the end. I think the first 4 were pretty good. 5 was a bit unsure of itself, and then this one just...
The whole point going through this entire mini was it was an unconventional story about an unconventional hero, right? He goes back in time. He has a son. He gets pulled back through time. He can't spend time with the son. And this 6th issue washes all that away by doing what every other superhero story I've ever read does.
Yeah.
And he has the dark version of himself that is trying to do bad things. And there's the fallout from Eiling, and that he hired him to do some wet works, some black ops stuff to keep his hands clean, and then basically sent him away for his crimes. So the one interesting thing is when they shared, they bumped into each other in the Quantumverse in the last issue. They shared like thoughts. So
yeah, like
they both
some
got
memories
insights.
crossed over.
Yeah, and so that's how Captain Atom figures out that about Eiling and how he hired him. But Supermax had done the same and found out that Captain Atom had a son, and he kidnaps the son, and he's going to do bad things. And
that quantum stuff was the most interesting part, and they really didn't capitalize on it enough.
No, I would have preferred this all being in the Quantumverse.
Yeah, I think that's what's so frustrating about this issue is that there is some good ideas in there, but they just don't manifest very well at all. If
the whole point was to make me care about Captain Atom, this doesn't. Like, I was much caring when he was the time-displaced hero.
Yeah.
And was getting pulled through time.
If this had stopped at, like, issue 4, you'd be on board.
Yep, exactly. Because I'm much more invested in the relationship with him and his son. And going forward here is we find out that his son has a little bit of the quantum power, because that's what saves him from Supermax letting out this burst of energy. But he's still going to go forward like that's not his son. He's going to keep him at a distance, and the sinister government types are going to keep an eye on him, and it's kind of unfulfilling. Like, we had this tease of hyper time at the end of the first issue and the 0 hour, and it doesn't pay off on any of that. Like, I don't know where this standing goes forward. There was no tie to Manhattan.
It feels like, okay, the things that it wanted to introduce were the kid, and we'll pick up that somewhere down the line, I'm sure.
Yep.
The new version of Captain Atom. And I thought they were going to have him come and join the League or something, but they kind of had, at the end, no, he's going to stand on his own for now.
Yeah.
What I did think was very interesting was on that final page, we see the League watching this, like this press conference, essentially.
Yeah.
And Hawkman's there.
Mm-hmm.
So that sets up kind of some timeline placements as to where we are. But they're all in their latest Rebirth outfits and stuff. But Hawkman's flying around there, which is interesting.
Yeah, and you have Soups in his and Flash with the lines on. So
I also thought it was strange they were hiding which Green Lantern it was, because we get there's a hand and we see a ring. It's like, okay, so there's a Green Lantern there, but they showed everyone else, but the hand was just there.
Now, if it was revealed this takes place on an alternate Earth, and we're gonna have multiverse connotations, that's cool because of the quantum.
Yeah.
Or like if they teased Palmer or something, because we still haven't got any payoff from that. I mean, not that we would know because we don't read Just Leave America, but I doubt it, judging how that book went. So, yeah, it was very disappointing. Like, this was one of the first things I read this week, and it set the tone. Because I was excited to see where it went, and it kind of just petered out.
Well, yeah, that's it. It was good for 4 issues, and then it didn't know what it actually wanted to tell as its story. It kind of turned into this other thing, and it was like, we just want to have Captain Atom set up in the present day, and that's fine. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing him around somewhere else. Hopefully, do something better with him. Mm-hmm. But this was kind of pointless at the end. Yeah,
we even set up the Charleston. We had the Charleston investigation. Like, set up those characters. We know we're playing with Watchmen coming down the line.
Yeah.
You couldn't have teased the question in there.
Yeah, it feels like a missed opportunity. Like I said, they had half a story. They knew what they were doing, and it was interesting. And then it feels like they just ran out of what they wanted to say and just resorted to let's just fight himself, basically.
That's it. An evil version of himself.
Yeah.
Disappointing. So Pete, we recommended you get back to Deathstroke after missing out. I wouldn't go back and read this.
Yeah, you've caught all the important information that you'll need should Atom appear elsewhere now. Yeah.
I'll wake back up. It was funny because at one point in there you said petered out, and I sort of giggled to myself because I was kind of sitting there half asleep, because I'm petering out because funny joke.
Got it. Was it funny? I think we should judge that.
Anyway, that's Fallen Rise of Captain Atom, which takes us on to the exciting, the highlight of the show, the main event, I'm trying to just think of the perfect phrase, the pièce de la résistance of the show.
The piece de la Red Hood.
Welcome to Corner's Corner, funded by the good folks of Patreon at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV, to put in a plug.
Yeah.
This is brought to you by them. This is funded by you good folks who are forcing Connor to read a book of their choosing, and the book that was selected was the issue of Red Hood that was next on the list after Connor gave the series up. So coming to you with Red Hood and the Outlaws, issue 7, Scott Lobdell and Mirko Colak are the creative team on it. Connor, take it away. Did you enjoy Red Hood number 7?
Hold on, I got a question before.
Suspense.
Are they a team? Are they a team yet?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
Technically.
No. They are a team. There's not much teaming being done because this issue is Bizarro focused, and Red Hood's around with that. But there's Artemis she's around, and they are all on the same side, but she's not really in the issue much. But it counts. Gotcha. I just want to put that out there.
It doesn't matter if it counts anymore, though. Oh, actually, it does matter because if they weren't a team yet, then Connor.
This one would have to be free. Yeah. No, I want to make clear they are a team, but they are not doing a team thing in this issue.
But the more important question is, Connor, did you enjoy Red Hood and the Outlaws number 7?
I did not enjoy most of it.
That is more positive than it ever was before. So.
No, it is. And I think the actual Bizarro stuff of this is pretty good. It's reminiscent of the that Bizarro mini that we had. Well, I mean, I say mini. I think it was just DCU, but
it was
basically
a mini. Issues. But it was a mini because it was 6 of 6.
Oh, was it actually billed as a mini? That one? I couldn't remember that one. Okay. Yeah. The Bizarro stuff is kind of like that, and that stuff was interesting. Like the idea that when he was cloned, he has some of Superman's memories, and he talks about how he remembers, being sent away from a dying world. He remembers the Kents essentially like loving him. He remembers fields and he remembers the sky, and he doesn't hate the world. But he knows they're not his memories.
That's interesting. I mean, I would have said Superman doesn't remember being sent away from Krypton.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. I mean, I also question that, but I was like, whatever. I'm not gonna fight.
Well, because part of Superman's story is that his parents eventually tell him, "Oh, you came in this ship." He doesn't remember coming in the ship.
Yeah. But if it's physical memory, because he's based off of clone cells.
Sure.
You could, but it's still a reach.
It is, but there is actually a nice moment where Jason has gone to the Batcave while Bruce was out. Alfred let him in. He was like, "Hey, come on." And Jason's gone and borrowed Bruce's kryptonite. And he's basically got it in the gun. He's ready to put down Bizarro. He's like, "Look, can't have this." And Bizarro then they're out in this field by a lake, and Bizarro starts talking about this. And he starts saying, he remembers the first time he stepped into the sky, friends and secrets, truth and justice, the American way. And Jason stood there behind him with the gun. And he says, but he's not stupid. They're not my memories. And he goes, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to try. I was like, that was a really nice moment, weirdly. And Jason puts down the gun. But, it's...
Do you know, I think Connor loved this issue, but he's dominated. I
really liked these few pages with Bizarro at the end. These few pages were legitimately really good, and the art was great. I did think I often said good things about the art in general anyway. It was never that bad. Lobdell has this thing where he gets artists for some godforsaken reason. He always gets good artists.
When you said, Bizarro has memories of leaving. It shouldn't surprise me that Lobdell doesn't understand Superman after the New 52.
Yeah.
But he still continues just to not get it. I do. Quit giving him Superman stuff to do, DC. It's not that hard.
To be fair,
But
Bizarro having that memory is like on the end of the list of complaints about what he's like Superman.
But in a way, this is probably the closest he's ever gotten to getting Superman right, where he's kind of Bizarro is inspired by Superman to try better.
Yeah,
that's
well, and I always like that version of Bizarro that's kind of a nuisance. That's not really.
Yeah, he's
I
not,
don't like Frankenstein's Bizarro. You know, I like the playful. Oops, I messed up. Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I really like that final few pages where you have that stuff with Bizarro. That stuff was legitimately good. All the other stuff where you've got Jason taking over Black Mass organization, you've got him calling in Bizarro as reinforcements, basically being the dog that he points and unleashes at them, and he's weirdly sentimental. He's like, "Hey, Bizarro, I told you not to kill him. Calm down." And it doesn't really feel like Jason. Jason shouldn't really care that much, I don't think. And then Killer Croc shows up. And one of the guys is like, "Oh yeah, I bought him off Black Mask," but it turns out it was just a robot, which was really disappointing.
Good lord!
Yeah, that's what I mean. All this stuff is like, ugh, Red Hood. It's just this is what the book was, and this is Lobdell just doing shite.
But
that stuff with Bizarro was legitimately pretty good.
So
I can't deny that.
That is usually the most positive you'd ever been on it.
Oh, it is, and
so
I mean, I've liked Lobdell's stuff in the past. I think his Gotham City Sirens stuff was pretty good. It wasn't as good as some of the other people on that book, but I think it was.
You mean Paul Dini?
Well, yeah, there was
one of the legends of storytelling.
Well, yeah, but there was a few other writers as well.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, over the run, I think there was.
I stopped when Dini stopped, so.
Yeah, no, I've read it all, and his stuff's not. It's obviously nowhere near as good, but it's not bad. And this is probably the best thing I've read from him in years, easily. This 4 pages or whatever it is, where it like you say, it's the closest he's ever come to understanding Superman, other than that weird memory bit, which was strange. But he doesn't get Jason at all. Like, Artemis is basically not in this issue. She's Googling away, trying to find her bow of Ra still. Like, she's literally just sat at her computer doing some research. I don't know what she's doing. She might as well be on Google.
All right. Is that the gist of it then? Is that Red Hood done for the month?
Yeah, I'm just skimming to see if there's any key points I forgot. No, I think that's it. I really don't like how his Jason just isn't Jason. He's very much this reformed Jason trying to do better, and that doesn't seem like the Red Hood we've had for the past few years. And it just, I mean, whatever we had before Lobdell started doing all this, and that stuff just doesn't work for me because it takes away that whole. He came back, he had this grudge with Bruce, and that was like this big thing, and it feels like that's gone. And it's kind of disappointing that it was something that set him apart, that made him more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the argument there is they're trying to develop him. It's growth, and it's something different now.
But he's just developing into. He's stopped being this anti-hero, and he's becoming a hero again. I'm not sure I'm interested in that because, he's using guns, but he's trying not to kill people, and that's kind of.
I always like him as DC's Punisher.
Exactly.
He doesn't have the gravitas of Frank. Yeah, but like when Winnick initially brought him back, and he was kind of all doing this just to spite Bruce, and Bruce couldn't do anything to stop him because he knew how to exploit Bruce's emotions. That's when he was at his best, and
that's it. I feel like this actually. I know it's supposed to be character progression, but I feel like it's in the wrong direction. Have him lean into that and go, no, that is who I am. I'm going to be that Punisher type, rather than I still need to live up to Bruce's ideals, which is kind of what this feels like it's doing, and that doesn't jive with me at all to what we had from Jason and who he is.
That's fair. All right, well there you go. That's Connor's Corner is back with a vengeance.
David
Excellent.
I mean, I appreciate you supporting the channel, obviously, and everything we do, but you're a dick.
All right, I guess that takes us on to the best of stuff of the week. Pick best panels, best arts, best covers, best books, and all the shenanigans. Because we didn't really get to do it properly last week because we only had like 4 books, and even then it was kind of weird because we only like 2 of them to a great extent. So here we are. Best panel of the week. Oh, actually, no. Before we do that, I need to get used to doing this. The patrons' picks for last week, because, of course, if you just want to support us at the lowest tier, which is the $1 tier on Patreon, one of the perks is you get access to a weekly poll to pick your best panel. Not panel, because panel's really tough to put into a poll, but best cover, best art, and best book of the week. And last week's results are really easy for episode 54, because Wonder Woman Annual won everything. It was best art, it was best cover, it was best book.
Did you specify for the art as to, or did you break down that into the specific stories, or did you just general?
Just general, just Daniel. Maybe that was laziness on my part.
I think it was, because we broke it down into the stories.
To be fair though, I made that poll up before we did the episode. I did it in advance, so it wasn't like we'd done that and then I went, oh, I should really do it to match what we said. It was just...
Should have done it again then, really, shouldn't you?
God damn you. The poll for this week, for episode 55, will be up over the weekend. So you can keep voting on it until we're recording next Saturday. Is basically the deadline. I'll look at it just before we record, and that's what the results will be. So, but yeah, so that's on Patreon. So our picks for this week, though, for episode 55. So yeah, best panel of the week. Connor. Actually, no, Connor, you've just been talking for 5 minutes. Matt, that's your wonderful voice. What's your panel of the week?
Yeah. So mine's from Green Lanterns. It's that image that Connor couldn't stand, Jesper's leg. Despite the leg, turning that page and seeing the all 6 plus Kilowog of the Earth Lanterns assembled with the oath going and their rings held high.
You know, I would have been tempted to pick this on another week. I really would have. Because my pick is going to be the first kind of full page in Batman where Batman's on the radio tower and Gotham Girl's flying, and he's really small in the frame, in the panel. He's really small, just silhouette, but the sunlight beaming and just this, the silhouette of him on the top of the tower and her, and they're really small. It's just a beautiful image. It's a beautiful kind of, they're just sort of bathing in the sun, and the sun's overpowering, and it's just them in the light. It is gorgeous. All the daytime stuff was gorgeous in that book, but that panel more than anything stuck out to me. It's really, really nice. So I'm going with that. Connor, panel of the week.
I'm going from Nightwing. It's when Dick climbs in back through the window and it starts that whole sequence. I think it just looks great for a start, and I also really like that it's the idea that no, this is the side of Dick that we're getting into the personal life, who he is, not just the superhero stuff. And it's kind of like what we've been talking about a lot of the books this week, actually. But that one for me is summed up this series of Nightwing lately.
That's fair. That'll take us on to cover of the week. Now, there was a little thing before we started recording today where Matt was convinced that he knew what my choice was going to be, and I said, I don't think you all know what my choice is going to be. So I actually said I'd already made my pick, and I sent it to Connor so that I can't change it after Matt said his guess. But I'm going to ask Matt for his guess as to what my pick is. Matt, what do you think my cover of the week is?
So, I think you're going with Green Lanterns because it's Jessica punching Guy Gardner in the face.
Wrong!
Some sound logic, though, to be fair.
Logic's fine. Logic is fine. My pick's actually Nightwing. It's a fine image of him kicking Blockbuster. But it's actually just the strength of the art that makes me love it. I love how it looks. It's just...
Well, I like that there's a little puppy barking between their legs. Just randomly there. Like, that cracked me up.
But no, Nightwing wins best cover for me this week. Connor, your cover.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm going with Deathstroke. Him in the spotlight looking down, discarding all his weapons, kind of sums up the change of the series, and I think it's a great image.
Cool. Matt?
So mine is Green Lanterns, just based, not that Guy Gardner, because I love Guy Gardner. I don't want to see him punched in the face. But it's Simon behind them doing the oh, you got.
Yeah, it's the oh shit moment.
Yeah, and it's just, I was going to get, because Lupacchino has become one of my favorite artists, so anytime I can find one of her covers, I usually pick it up. And that was the variant cover. But when I was in my shop and I had seen this cover, it just made me laugh because of Simon. I was like, oh, well, that's got to be my cover of the week.
Actually,
You know?
I kind of like the variant for Green Lantern because the Green Lantern variant was it was them plus Guy and Kyle. Like I like the whole four of them. Kind of, I get almost like a smaller version of what I liked about that big splash page at the end when it was all six of them together.
I think, like Matt says, Lupacino, the art, it's just a gorgeous image, that variant.
It is.
That'll take us on to art of the week. Interesting options here. Connor, art of the week.
Green Arrow. I was very tempted to say Nightwing, just because I think it's been excellent, but yeah, Green Arrow.
All right, Matt.
Mine's Batman. The balance of the art between Clayman's daytime stuff and Finch's night stuff, and this is the best Finch's art's looked since Rebirth, I think. So, and it was just a nice balance between the two. Like, it makes sense when you have two artists, but you have them doing different things. It's not just like Gleason and Mahnke this week where they're kind of just sharing pages to get it done.
It's nice when it works for a story reason. It doesn't look like a flash. It's like there's a stylistic choice.
Yeah. They each represent different things. It's kind of like sometimes it'll be a flashback kind of thing where all the flashbacks will be different artists, whereas in this case it was the difference between night and day, hope and darkness, and that kind of thing.
Yep.
This is a tough one because I think Green Arrow's a good choice. I think Nightwing's a good choice. I think Batman's a good choice. I ultimately am going to land on Batman. For me, obviously, I picked the panel from that. I think all the same reasons that Matt just kind of said. Everything about it. It was very well structured in that sense. So yeah, Batman gets my art of the week. So that takes us on to top 5 books of the week. Matt, what is your top 5?
So you guys ready for this?
Number
myself. 1 is Batman. I can't deny how much I really enjoyed that issue.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let me just. I'm gonna cut that little bit out and have that as my ringtone. Just for
there you
a while.
Go. Enjoy that. I can't. Putting anything else over it would feel false, so I can't. Number 2 is going to be Green Arrow because I really loved what they did here with Ollie. His rippling muscles. Be damned. At that last panel. Number 3, I'll go Nightwing. Number 4, Superman, and number 5, Green Lanterns.
Cool. Connor?
So first, I'm going to go Nightwing, and then Batman at number 2. 3, I'm going to go Justice League, just out of sheer fun factor. 4, Superman, 5, Green Arrow.
Cool. I'm going to go Batman number 1. Nightwing at number 2. I'm going to go Justice League at number 3 as well, actually. And I'll say Green Lanterns at number 4, and then Green Arrow at number 5. Yeah, that's where I'll go. Superman was better than the last issue. I think it just... and Green Arrow's at number 5 and not higher because I liked that a lot. I think it was a good conclusion. I do think it was maybe one of the weaker issues of the arc, though. Like I think there was other standout issues that really stood out and was like, these were the highlights of the arc. But there you go. So Connor stopped that from being a unanimous pick, surprisingly.
Sorry.
But Matt picked Batman and someone else didn't. The insane things that happen at times.
I know.
But there you go. That's all this week's picks. Which leads me to tell you what is coming next week. Week 2 of June. And obviously the big thing next week is Dark Days, The Forge issue 1, which is the first of 2 preludes to the Dark Knights Metal event from Scott Snyder. So that's coming next week. That's a big issue. Also next week we have Action Comics 981, assuming it's not been delayed as it sometimes is, All-Star Batman number 11.
It has been delayed.
It has been delayed. Oh, look at that. It's almost routine at this point.
It's probably Albuquerque's fault.
Yeah, it's almost routine at this point. Batgirl and the Birds of Prey number 11, Detective Comics 958, The Flash number 24, Hal Jordan, The Green Lantern Corps number 22, New Superman number 12, Supergirl number 10, Superwoman number 11, Titans number 12, Wonder Woman number 24, second last issue for Rucka, Matt.
I know. Saddens me.
Plus, also coming out next week that we will not be covering is Justice League of America number 8, Suicide Squad number 19, and not next week, although eventually once we get there, Red Hood and the Outlaws number 11.
There's a couple of cool trades coming out. You know, the big thick ones next week. We've got the Batwoman by Rucker and J.H. Williams.
That's cool.
I'll be picking that up.
That's got a couple issues that weren't in the old deluxe, because I used to have the old deluxe hardcover, and there was a couple issues missing that were kind of extras at the end. So that I think that has everything. Isn't the Wonder Woman by Perez #2 out this week as well? Or was that last week? I knew it was out.
That might have been last week.
Okay, fair enough.
There was, the Hawkman by Jeff Johns first book as well, though.
That's cool. So there you go. That's what's coming next week. So there you go. That's number 55 of Comics from the Multiverse. We got through it in one piece. Start to June. Summer things are coming, and metals and whatnot. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the show. I guess it's time to plug things. So anything you guys want to plug specifically that we did in the last week? Connor especially, because you did a lot of TV stuff this week.
What did we do this week?
Twin Peaks. We did.
We did do Twin Peaks.
Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, we didn't
Fargo.
do anything DC related this week for a change.
Well, no, because all the show's finished.
yeah, exactly. That's done. No, I'll go with Fargo. I think it's had its best episode of the season. Season's really picking up. Well worth watching.
Cool. Oh, obviously, this is all the stuff we're talking about. It's on the Mailed Fuzz TV YouTube channel if you're listening to the audio version of this. Matt, anything you'd like to plug?
Just check out our Wonder Woman review from last week.
Yeah, it was the three of us.
Spoiler, we all enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was the three of us plus Tim from the horror movie
Timmy.
So no, that was a good discussion. I'd recommend checking whatever out, but I will. It always comes to me to plug the actual sort of main stuff, and the main stuff being, of course, we mentioned it a couple of times for various reasons. But Patreon, obviously, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to support the podcast, and obviously the YouTube channel as a whole. There's some comics bonus stuff in there. Me and Connor did Aliens Dead Orbit issue 2 as a sort of standalone video this week. There's more stuff of that coming. Issue 1's. Star Wars Darth Vader just started. I know Connor's planning on writing something for that, since I don't think Matt's reading it. Otherwise, it would be a duo video. Because Matt's given up the Star Wars. He's decided that.
I have to be more selective when I'm behind on Screaming Citadel because.
No, Matt, you've come to your senses and you've realised that there's too much Star Wars and you're cutting some of it out of your life.
Well, now I might, but I just might read it on my own leisure, so we can't review it just to upset Pete.
That'd upset me. I don't care if you review Star Wars.
Okay.
Star Wars is whatever. That's not important. There's more important things to worry about in life.
Yeah, but you need to learn how Darth Vader got his lightsaber. And do you know what? Small spoiler for my review. That is the tagline they've been selling it on, and I hated that. But it is actually better than what it sounds. It's not as cash grabby as it sounds once it's in the story. Because I hated that as well.
That sounds like people who are watching Lost were like, "Oh, I want to know how Jack got his tattoos."
No. That's what I thought. It's not the story of how he got his lightsaber, like they've been saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's the story of how he earned his lightsaber. It's completely different.
Because he lost it when his best friend pulled the dip and duck on him, which is still one of my favorite moments in any of Star Wars. I have the high ground.
All right. This is enough Star Wars talk to.
Well, you brought it on.
For the week. I was just promoting something that was coming up for the patrons. But yeah, okay. So that's the thing. $5 tier has all the extra bonus content, such as extra video reviews of certain things and written content if only one of us reads something. That kind of thing. $1, of course, gets you access to the weekly poll if you want to vote in that and sort of get your voice heard that way. But no, that's the comic stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff for the other stuff to be doing the channel as well, if you're interested in any of that, such as the movie stuff and the TV stuff. But no, so check that out. You can also help us, of course, just by liking, subscribing, commenting on stuff, whether it's on YouTube or tweet at us, that kind of thing. Share the podcast, all that kind of stuff. But we appreciate all of it, as we, of course, we do appreciate you just spending the time with us, enjoying the show. It means a lot. So thank you very much for watching and or listening. As always, get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel and podcast updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen, but of course, if you're on the audio, Matt's at MattofSteel57, Connor's at ConnorRyan94, I'm at Wibble89 if you want to hear me ranting about everyday things on there. But that is us, guys. So thank you once again for watching and or listening, and always remember, never get lost in the Speed Force.
I remember Connor can't.